Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen him down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a meal, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Told him come down and I'll meet him at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Yeah, head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dump Show. Apparently, with Bitcoin getting a massive drop to the downside. Good Lord, this wick is insane, guys. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of just jumping right into it here because I didn't really have a lot of time to look at the chart. So I'm going to skip the intro. Smash that like button if you guys appreciate these urgent live streams, even when we go live like 15 minutes early. But let's go ahead and jump on right into the charts here, guys. Stream Deck is dumping as well here, guys. But obviously, massive dump here on Bitcoin, giving us the wick down below our previous lows. And good Lord, what is going on here, guys? What is going on? Is this something you should be worried about? Well, hopefully I could try to break this down for you. I don't have a lot of like preset analysis here to talk about, but if you guys saw the market update earlier today, look at this wick. First off, I will just say, when we take a look here at our key levels on the higher time frames, even on a lower time frame here, you guys can see we did come down and tap this massively key level of support, which you would think we would have plenty of time to talk about before we actually came down to touch it. But it literally happens in 5 minutes. So this is that key level, guys. This is obviously we had money flow coming out yesterday. You guys know that. I am holding my short position currently. Up about $5,400 on this at this point. This was all the way down to, or all the way up at like 10K like 5 minutes ago. Crazy wick to the upside, but let me just get into the analysis here, guys. You know, we have these macro support levels down here. Obviously, the value area high at $108,000 to $107,000. This is kind of that major zone that we did not want to lose, at least as of right now, guys. If we were going to come down and tap that 786, you guys know this was a level that I did not want to come interact with, because once you get down here, right, even if you find an opportunity to look for a long position, you're kind of longing into all this resistance, which could be a very bearish scenario for Bitcoin. But to be honest, a big wick like this, I mean, if this is just some kind of crazy liquidation run, and I was already looking at this, tons of liquidations coming in here. Obviously, you know, pretty much every long probably open right now got liquidated there. But look at this reaction, guys. This is insane. I mean, I will say this. If we were going to come down and tap this level, this is kind of what we needed to see, right? We did not want to hang down here for very long. We were down here for like 30 seconds. Now, of course, I'm not saying we can't continue back down to potentially fill this wick. But I will just say, yo, shout out to Tony, said, guys, for context, Frankie just shot a market update, immediately went into nearly a 3-hour premium live stream, ended that, and started this 10 minutes later. Smash that like button for the mang, for this maniac. Shout out to Tony D. I appreciate that, bro. But yeah, I wish I was a little bit more prepared here, but this is all kind of stuff we looked at. The fact that we came down to tap this level, guys, again, I saw this as a very problematic level, because we would get a push up here and fight against all this resistance, which could accept us into this volume profile, pushing us down towards that $97,000 POC, which I know a lot of people thought was crazy at the time, but you get to see how fast these things can change in the market, guys. But as we look at this, I will say the fact that we tapped this and we are now scooting back out of here, I'm not saying this is going to last long term, but you know, it is kind of nice, right? Like, we tapped it, now we're away from it, right? We're back above the value area high. This is still a massive key level of support, guys. The value area high, we had a macro golden pocket here. Even these daily levels can be looked at as key levels, right? This is from a high time frame perspective, right? Not even talking from a trading perspective. This is a huge key level to stay on top of, guys. We got the 2 dailies. That's not really what I'm paying attention to, though, but it's just the fact that this is a macro value area high. We do not want to get accepted back below this level, and if we did have to come down and play with this level, you would hope it was some kind of quick liquidity grab. Now, again, I wouldn't say like, oh my God, it's all good and gravy here, because again, if you guys, we're going to take a look at what we were looking at last night. If you guys watched the market update and the live stream last night, we were looking for this dump to continue to the downside, potentially targeting $115,000 to $112,000 at that value area low, which is hilariously enough pretty close to where we're sitting right now. But this was all identified based off money flow, guys. You know, if you wanted a big move to the upside, you had to pray for a total fake out on money flow. And we were able to use that money flow to anticipate that continuation of the trend, continue to profit here on our long position, which is very nice. We make money whether price goes up or down. But as I look at this tap into the 786, I mean, you know, I'm not saying we can't come back down here and come into that difficult situation, but we have tapped that level, which could be a macro retracement. And the fact that we are now back above that, if we don't have to revisit this, this is looking like a 786 retracement to me. The problem comes in when we look at money flow, right? This 4-hour money flow could just be getting started to the downside here. You know, if we do come up, right, lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows, potentially now we're going to be talking about maybe coming down to fill this wick. Could be in the cards here, guys. So yeah, it's like we don't want to come down to these levels. We tap it in like 30 seconds and snap back to the upside. We actually had a long setup down here in the premium Discord to look for a long, but like it literally happened in 2 seconds. I wasn't even able to take a position there. But again, I don't want to make it sound like, oh my God, the bottom's in, buy right now, long right now. Obviously, we have to keep an eye on the context and the trend here. So just try to, don't let the FOMO get you to the downside or the upside here. I mean, this is an absolutely insane move on Bitcoin. And yeah, I get what I can say right now is we are still technically, right? There's obviously a lot of volatility going on here, but we are right now technically still above our anchored VWAP. And again, that value area high anchored VWAP is going to be a huge level to hold as support. We also have our bull market support band sitting up here. Bada boom, right? Bull market support band sitting up there as well. So like, huge support down here, guys. Like, we do not want to lose this level. Now, I'm probably just going to have to let the dust settle here, right? I'm holding my short position, obviously. We got a little scalp long here in the premium Discord coming up to our exact key levels of resistance. I'm going to cover the local price action before we go over kind of why we saw this coming in. Not that I was expecting to drop immediately down to the 786 here, but the reason we were anticipating that continuation down was very clear on last night's live stream, guys, and hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of that. But I'm at this point going to have to, just kind of let things settle down here, because I could say, like, from this wick perspective, we tap the 786, if we can close the weekly candle up here, it might be, not that bad in my opinion, right? Again, money flow is still pointing towards a continuation down. So I'll kind of cover that with you guys, but if we close the weekly candle up here, that would be decent. Maybe close the weekly candle above the bull market support band at this rate. Maybe we close the candle up here at 500K. I don't know. This volatility is absolutely insane. But this is still that major zone to stay on top of, right? And if I hide all the intermediary levels, we'll cover the dailies, we'll hide the bull market support band, I'll get rid of this zone here, right? This is still going to be the massive level of support, right? We do not want to get accepted back inside this range, guys. And, I honestly kind of thought if we did come back down here, maybe we'd come down, little SFP, maybe we'd hit the 786, but it all kind of just happened all at once, which again is like kind of nice, because if that is the wick, right? Well, hey, we didn't have to deal with this disgusting situation of trying to find a long on the 786 directly into resistance. But the downfall of that is I had no time to enter a long position here. So I'm going to let things settle down. Honestly, on these big drops to the downside, guys, there's like, I know it's a big update because we've broken down massively, but as far as like a TA perspective, this is obviously not as extreme as I was expecting, but we were anticipating that move to the downside, guys. Obviously, based off that money flow, I was holding my short position here. We took a little bit of a scalp long, which I showed yesterday on the live stream as well, from the value area high of our local range. But we had very specific targets for this, guys. And what were they? We talked about them on the live stream. It was going to be that golden pocket 786 retracement to the upside in full anticipation of our lower high and lower low to come, to continue that move to the downside based off money flow. This is one of the simplest ways to look at the chart, guys. If you are new to trading, Market Cypher B's money flow is very rarely wrong. So we see some low time frame green dots. We see some low time frame bullish divergences. So we go ahead and scalp that move to the upside. I actually did hit a partial take profit here. I stopped out in profit. And of course, that short position continued to pay me out. But more importantly, right, like I just like to show that because you can call these moves in the market as well, just like we do. By, I teach exactly how I do this every single day for totally free. And you guys can just see, like, I know it gets like kind of, I don't want to say controversial, but like people don't like to hear that price is going down. But when I see these signals on the chart, guys, I have to call for it, right? And we've been talking about the $115,000 to $112,000 value area low, golden pocket 786 retracement, which maybe we wind up closing up here. But these were the next two major levels I was interested in. And then as soon as I entered the premium live stream, we just nuked right down to them and blew right through them. We got, and on top of that, not only 4-hour money flow, not only do we have the deviation above our value area high, which we can look at as overvalued price, right, in respect to the current price or recent price action. And then, once we get that drop down, we get accepted underneath this value area high at $120,358. The next likely place for price to go is where? The point of control. If we lose the point of control and can't get back above it, where are we expecting to go? To the value area low. And of course, this was a little bit more dramatic. But again, it's the direction, right? Just because we're looking at these targets down here doesn't mean that, our short's not going to continue to pay us out if we go further. So, all these signs were on the chart. And if you watch the live stream last night, guys, go rewatch it and see what we were looking at to anticipate at least a drop down through the profile. Again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I was expecting this drop all the way instantly to the 786. And somebody asked me a question in the premium Discord. What do you think about like politically inspired moves? Like, do you think it's manipulation? I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care what the tweet is. I don't care what the news is. Right? I don't even know. I genuinely don't know. I assume, I don't know, someone said Trump tweeted about tariffs or something. But here's the thing, guys. We saw these signs on the chart. Not only yesterday, but also at the all-time high here with the SFP of the all-time high where we had that short set up in the premium Discord. We were looking for the shorts all the way up here. And then as price develops to the downside, we look for that continuation based off money flow, based off the retracements, and also based off getting accepted into your profile and getting that high probability of rotation. Same thing on Ethereum, guys. The exact same thing. What were we looking at on Ethereum? And again, not that I was looking for this to play out as quickly as it did, but we were here in our volume profile. We got down to the POC yesterday looking for lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows into the value area low and potentially the 786, macro 786 and local 786, which is a key level because if we lost that level, guess where we were going next? Simply put, we were looking down. What was that next key level, guys? 3530 at that value area high. You can't make it up. This is not in hindsight. This was called live, right? Into that value area high. This is how the market moves. When you look at these volume profiles and you understand the context of these levels, you can look for these moves to be very high probability. And again, I wasn't necessarily expecting, I would have thought maybe we came down here, played around, and then eventually trended down. But you could see, you lose that 786. If you can't hold that 786, guys, you bearishly retest it, can't get back above. Guess what? That next big target is going to be 3530. We've covered this level umpteen times on the live stream. Right, we have it marked down here. Daily MPOC, golden pocket, daily MPOC, value area high, and the bull market support band. So even on Ethereum, massive, massive key levels of support that we need to hold. Could this be the bottom? I mean, with an aggressive liquidation like this, I would still say from a technical perspective, guys, the money flow is still pointing towards lower highs and lower lows, right? So I would still have to have that be my base case, just like yesterday on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else as well. But when you have crazy volatility like this, I don't know, maybe it can help us get some kind of crazy fake out at this moment, right? If we look at a lower time frame like the 30-minute, right? We've closed our candle above this value area high. This is low time frame, guys. This would be nice, right? I'm okay. What have I been saying here, right? I'm okay with wicks down here. I just don't want to get candle closures. And of course, I'm never really talking about the 30-minute. I'm talking about the higher time frame. So we'll have to see how this daily candle develops. We'll also have to see how the weekend closes as well. So that weekly candle, it'd be very nice to not close that weekly candle down here. If we close that weekly candle below this value area high, guys, and especially with the way money flow looks, by the way, still looking bearish. Money flow continuing into the red here, or looking for a crossover into the red on the 4-hour. I mean, I have to anticipate lower highs and lower lows, unless it's just some kind of scam wick, and then we can get all that money flow to fake out for a new all-time high. You're still rooting against the money flow. Maybe the volatility throws a little wrench in the indicator there because, money flow is going to take some time to develop, and maybe that kind of chokes out the indicator. But, just from a structural and key level standpoint here, guys, I would still say the biggest level to stay above here is that $108,000 value area high. If we get stuck in that range very, 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 very clearly, I will be anticipating that bigger move to the downside. And just like on Ethereum, we had the 786 sitting here on our value area low. I literally looked at this on the market update earlier today. If we can't hold that 786, where are we going to be looking down to? We're going to be looking to not only continue the move to the downside, but get that break of structure down here below 107K, hopefully being a liquidity sweep, because we did have a lot of liquidity sitting below 108K, and we also did have some liquidity sitting below 107K. So hopefully the bullish case here is that with some kind of crazy liquidity sweep, we can reclaim this value area low and start cooking back up through this profile. But even then, guys, I would still say that the money flow is still, you have to be careful of this continuation down based off money flow. So if we do get a retracement here, and now we're back above the value area low. This is insane, guys. Insane. So if we do get back in here, right, I would say the biggest key level to break out of in order to call for all-time highs and not a bigger continuation to the downside is very simply going to be, now this fib is going to kind of get messed up because we have this super massively lower wick down here. This fib was confluent, if we bottomed out here, was confluent with the value area high. But the biggest level of resistance on the chart as of right now, which is just updated, is going to be the 786 POC, right? It's pulled from this lower high to the absolute lower low. If we are going to see that money flow continue out, I can only look at this from a technical perspective, right? Maybe we get the little continuation up. If we can't get back above this POC 786, it could still be a lower high and a lower low to come to maybe fill out that wick to the downside. And money flow is pointing towards that being the higher probability. It's not guaranteed. If you were looking for this to be the bottom, that was some kind of crazy liquidity sweep, which I would not say is unlikely, right? Just because of the sweep of the lows here with the visible liquidity we had on the heat maps, we could get another bounce to the upside. Really no opportunity to enter that trade down here for me personally. But that's okay, right? We're going to let price settle. Who knows? Maybe we don't get the retracement. But if we do, this is the first level to look at, $118,158. If we can get above that, we can at least come up here and attack that value area high. And if we pull our full Fibonacci retracement now from the absolute high to the absolute low here, We do have, and this is honestly confluent with the local level that I just brought up, right? Golden Pocket POC 786. This does range. I'll give you the full price range of this: 116,928 to 118,311. This would be kind of the first area that I would be looking for potential lower highs. Golden Pocket's pretty close. We'll see what happens. We'll probably may interact with this on the live stream. But I would say like that last level to look at before coming up to the value area high is going to be sitting up here at about 118,100. Now, once you get up to that value area high, you're not quite out of the woods just yet, right? This might just be a value area rotation, just like we had to the downside yesterday that we looked at, right? Get below here. We look to go to the POC. We look to go to the value area low. And if you ignore this, right? I mean, not that this is bad. This was very good. But, if you ignore all this, right? It's like, well, hey, we got that fulfill the range plus a bunch extra. So if we do continue up here, I would say this is your first level to break. Get above that. This is that last level to get above. And if you could flip that to support, you're still praying for money flow to completely fake out into the green, which I don't typically fade. But this would be technically that last place to look for another lower high before a bigger continuation down. If you can flip that to support, start to see your money flow roll back over, 2 hours just freshly crossed over into the red, 3 hours just crossed over into the red, 4 hours just about to cross over into the red. So you do just still have to be careful of these lower highs and lower lows. And those are the exact resistance levels I'm going to be looking at, just like we looked at the exact resistance levels yesterday, which wound up being the place to put in the lower high and the lower low. So those are levels to look at. We'll see. Maybe we get like some kind of massive rip to the upside here. But I'm going to let things settle here, right? I will say holding that 786, like this was the level, guys. If we lost this and this, right, that's kind of where I say to myself, it's a higher probability that the top is in on Bitcoin, right? We get stuck inside this range. We're looking for a much bigger drop down. And at that point, you're losing the bull market support band. And, it's just a much, much more bearish case. And, honestly, getting the quick wick down and the quick wick up is like one of the only things we can see to kind of like, it's not that bad, right? Because we didn't get stuck in here just yet. But if we put in the lower high and the lower low and we go down to fill this wick, well, guess what? Then we're going to be back in that situation. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, guys. It's going to be working overtime here. I've already been working overtime all day. Literally 3-hour premium live stream market update directly into an early live stream here for you guys. But this is... retail's going to see this and run. I know this is not good for the retail sentiment, guys, because we all know, right, retail has just not been here, right? Retail just does not care. But, let's just take this from a logical perspective. We broke the level, right? Unless we come down to fill this wick, this is not necessarily bad. This is honestly what I would want to see if we can close these weekly candles above here or above here. This is kind of what you would want to see if we were going to come down and tap this level. What we didn't want to see was getting stuck here, bouncing off the 786, and like having price develop down here. Like a quick little wick below these levels is okay to flush out that liquidity and then potentially continue up. So I hope this is just some kind of crazy liquidity run. Again, from a market cipher perspective, I still have to be careful of lower highs and lower lows. Again, just like yesterday, these are the key levels to be looking at. But what a crazy day for Bitcoin. That little dump where I made the market update was kind of, exciting to the downside, I guess. It was just I got some action, but I did not think that we were going to get that big drop to the downside. But again, it doesn't matter because, again, we saw the indications here that we may be able to at least fill this entire profile. And, hey, if it goes lower, it goes lower. So, yeah, let me come into chat here, guys. I've kind of been neglecting you. I wanted to jump right into the charts here because I know everybody's like, what the heck happened? And I know people like to talk about tweets, news events, all this stuff. But, again, go back to yesterday's live stream. There's a reason we were looking for this to be the case, at least to come down to $112,000. So we'll see what happens here. All right, let's see here. Can you compare this to the C19 dump? Sure, I could try to. I guess I could just pull the bars pattern here real quick. Not that I would expect this to result in anything similar to this, but I have to make it a bit smaller, try to match it up here. It's like, make it a whole lot smaller. Something like that. Where's this? Just looking at the fractal, not that it's something I would super pay attention to, like expecting price to play out like the fractal does. But, there you go. There's your price action just kind of overlaid there. Try to match it up as well as possible here. I don't know. I would still say, I want to be very clear here, guys. it's kind of hard, right? Because like I would hope for the bullish case that this was just a sweep, right? Which is okay. We're okay with sweeps down here. We knew we had the liquidity sitting. I was talking about this a whole lot down here, right? Like, hey guys, maybe we get the liquidity sweep, but we need it to be a fast sweep and a close above before another bigger move up. But of course, the market's never going to move exactly how you want it, or at least it's not always going to do that. Sometimes it does. But you know, this is technically a sweep. So, you know, the weekly candle closure is going to be kind of important here on Sunday, guys. Like, I would really prefer, I mean, ideally we close the weekly candle up here. If not, I would really like to close it above that $108,000 to $107,000 level. And when we take a look at this from a clean chart perspective, right, well, there's the local 786 that we didn't want to lose, indicating we would flush the lows. We've already done that. Maybe we hold it here. I don't know. But what I wanted to point to here was the bigger 786 retracement right here, right? Like, this could still be, right? As long as it's a wick and we don't get stuck inside that bigger profile, you could have your low, your high, your higher low before another higher high comes in. Now, again, money flow is not necessarily pointing towards that, but I just want to point that out. Like the behavior we saw here was okay, right? We're not accepted down there, at least just yet. Again, if we fill that wick and get stuck in here, that would be much more bearish. But right now, it's just a wick. It's just a big liquidation. Again, like, look at all these liquidations here on that move to the downside. Long's getting absolutely spanked to the downside. So we'll see. Like, weekly candle closures are going to be super, super important to close above these levels, especially this anchored VWAP value area high zone. We start to, if we wind up, maybe we kind of cool off here, we wind up losing the range again, and we work our way back down here and close that weekly candle below here, I would see that as a big bearish sign for Bitcoin in my own personal opinion. And I do think that the 4-hour money flow could be pointing towards that. Sure, it could scam to the upside. Sure, it could fake you out, but again, I just don't bet against that, right? I didn't bet against it yesterday. It made me a whole bunch of money on the short, so I'm just not going to start doing that now. So I would say, like, until we get back above this 786 at about $121,112, right? Like, that is the level we have to flip, and on top of that, we need all this money flow to aggressively start cooking back to the upside if you want a big breakout. Until then, I'm going to be very careful around these resistance levels for lower highs and lower lows. So, yeah, pretty crazy here, guys. I'm not going to lie. Little did I think that was going to happen. But again, tweets, news, I don't care. We saw the signs up here yesterday based off the charts. We don't have to wait for the news. All right, let's see. Shout out to Hey Trader, says, I don't have more money to buy the 99th dip now. Yeah, insane. Crypto usually recovers well after a sudden large capitulation. Yeah, I would agree with that, right? Like, you can look back to some of these other, like, liquidation runs. I mean, I guess it was kind of more elongated here. Wasn't as quick as what we just saw. But, yeah, like, typically, I mean, something like this is a situation where we kind of saw a fill of the wick, right? And then we lost the range and continued down. This is kind of not what we want to see, right? It's like you have money flow coming out here, right? You got the big wick down. Does that invalidate the money flow? Not really, right? Because you could still come on, fill that wick. Money flow is still in the red. Lower highs and lower lows are to come. But I would agree with you, right? Like, typically on those big liquidation runs, you know, it is, you know, go sideways, sweep out the liquidity, send it up. Go sideways, sweep out the liquidity in an elongated manner, send it up, right? Bing bong around, sweep the liquidity, send it up. Bing bong around, sweep the liquidity, run it up, right? Sweep the liquidity, run it up. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we're back above this value area low. I can't say that, you know, look at that candle, bro. Look at that candle. That 2-hour candle's insane. Or was it a 3-hour candle? Yeah, 3-hour candle's insane. So, yeah, I just have to let the dust settle here, guys. I'm holding my short position. We'll see what happens. You know, man, if I was just sitting here at the second we were tapping this, I mean, again, it's like, you know, I would have had really no confirmation there other than just like FOMO longing on the 786, understanding that, you know, we might be able to get that bigger rip to the upside. But, yeah, I mean, still the bigger high time frame key levels, the volatility is insane right now. Should we pull up the 1-second chart? Should we start narrating like a horse race? Oh my God, what a big wick to the downside. Can we pop up? Come up and tap that anchored VWAP. Come on, give us the pop, give us the pop, give us the pop. Money flow coming out. Maybe we're not going to get the pop. Maybe we're not going to get the pop. Let's see. Next candle, next candle. Totally flat. Nobody is buying. Nobody is selling. Everything is going flat. Money flow continuing out. Are we going to get the drop? Are we going to get the drop? Oh my God. Oh my God. Are we going to get the drop? Are we going to hit the anchored VWAP? Price just flat here. Absolutely no movement. Oh my God. And there's the drop. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here, guys. Again, 4-hour money flow on the medium time frames. This 4-hour money flow would indicate lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows. But from a simple perspective, we really got to hold on top of this. You know, I'll just take everything else off the chart and we'll just take a look here at the macro range, right? Like, this is not a level that we want to break down below. right? It's okay with the wicks, but we start closing candles down here, guys. This is not a good sign for Bitcoin, because if we get accepted in here, we could be targeting 96 to potentially $112,000, $91,000, which at that point, guys, it is starting to look a lot more like the top is on Bitcoin. I'm not saying that right this second, right? But if we get stuck in here and we start cruising through this profile, I have to think to myself, right? If high time frame money flow is coming out as we tap these levels on that retracement, what am I going to be looking at that point? I'm going to be looking at that high time frame money flow. If it is coming out, I'm going to be saying lackluster retracements for lower highs and lower lows is the higher probability situation. So talk about a nail biter. It's like nail biter to the upside, nail biter to the downside. Like, we do not want to get below this level. $108,000, guys. We get stuck underneath there. Mark my words. It is not going to be a pretty picture for Bitcoin. Shout out to Jenks, says, does this hurt the port? Not really. Not for me personally, right? Like, not for my Bitcoin portfolio. I mean, sure, I'm up a little less than I was back there, but I'm in from down here. So, no, doesn't really. And I've been talking about how I've been getting. We were literally talking about this in the premium Discord about how I'm getting itchy up here to take some more profit on my Bitcoin, guys, because at the end of the day, right, we've covered the bullish case, stay above $107,000 to $108,000. New all-time highs are still open. Technically, that is the case as of right now. As long as we don't close those high time frame daily, weekly candles underneath this level, it is still open. But when we start to look at these higher time frame bearish signals, and shout out to the Mafia, some of you guys have pointed these out. Obviously, I've been looking at them. But, we have a lot of these bearish divergences. You got this 2-week bearish divergence. Higher highs, lower highs. That is a 2-week bearish divergence. And you even have like a third drive here, right? Consistent lower highs with consistent higher highs with a sweep of liquidity of the all-time high, right? We also have the monthly bearish divergence printing, or confirmed. Higher highs, lower highs. These are macro bearish signals, guys. And every time we had seen these, people have called these out to me back here and back here, because it was kind of the same thing. It was like, well, Frankie, don't you understand? Like, we have a weekly bearish divergence here. How could you not think it's the top? This is exactly what happened in 2021. But back here was a different story, right? It was a totally different story. We were way earlier in the cycle. I did not think this was the top. Did I think that weekly bear div could bring us down? Absolutely. We were actually looking at that. And as a matter of fact, we actually shorted that move, right? But looking for higher lows and higher highs to come, which we have now seen, right? But when it comes to this point, right, when we're this late in the cycle and we start to see these high time frame bearish confirmations, right, very similar to what we saw in 2021, it's like, I have to start looking at the other side of the coin, right? Because I don't know if there's a lot of people there out there covering the bearish case, and I'm not saying that it has to happen. I'm not saying that I think it's the higher probability as long as we stay above $107,000 with significantly high time frame candle closures. But we got to look at the move to the downside as well, right? Because price goes up, price goes down, and not only can we capitalize on those short positions as we just looked at yesterday and showing the trade today. We can make money on that, but I don't want to get stuck holding my bag round trip either, guys, which I don't plan on doing. But, you have to look at those bearish cases. And I know not a lot of people like to look at that, but if you tuned in yesterday, right, a lot of people are probably happy that I looked at that bearish case if they were looking for massive longs down here. It's like, I have to look at if I think it's going down, I got to call for that, right? And it's not that I'm a genius. It's not that I'm the best. I'll never try to claim that. It's just the fact that this is how we read the charts, and the charts are right more than they're wrong. But this does, to me, look like a very large liquidation run. And I could see that by seeing the liquidations on ExoCharts. I'm sure you can check many other platforms to see what the liquidations are. And oftentimes that is something that we see before massive moves to the upside, right? I always kind of talk about it on the way up. It's like you get the big move up, swipe out the longs, continue up. You can see, chop around sideways, wash out the longs, continue up. Wash around sideways, sweep out the longs, send it up. Sideways, sweep it out, send it up. So, I'm going to have to let things develop here. I need more information from me to make any kind of significant decision here. But yeah, money flow continuing out here, guys. And just don't forget, right? Just because we have that big wick, pause, doesn't mean that you can't come down and fill that wick, right? It's like kind of similar to here. It's like, oh my God, boom, right? And then you do put in a higher high, but eventually you do come down in and you do wind up filling that wick, right? Before finally getting another big move up. So, yeah, pretty wild price action, to be quite honest with you. And it is funny. It's like the second I ended the premium live stream, it started moving. It's like literally Satoshi knows when I end my live streams, like seconds after getting into that. And we were talking about, because we were coming down to some key levels of support, just to give you guys a little bit of insight into like kind of what we talk about. We were looking to come into that golden pocket 786 zone on the value area low. And as we were tapping into this golden pocket, right, we were like, is that a nice setup? And to me personally, right, I was kind of saying, I don't really love it, right? Because as we chop into that golden pocket, it's like we don't really have a ton of confluence. We didn't really have any bullish divergences, even on the lower time frames. We were looking at the 15-minute, right? We had no bullish divergence. So I was like, could we bounce here for a little scalp to the upside? Maybe. But the idea would be a continuation down anyway. So I wasn't really interested in that. And then literally sign off right here. And then boom, absolutely mega nuke to the downside. So we'll see. I mean, right now we would hope to hold inside of this value area low at about 112.180. That would at least give you an opportunity to come up to some of those bigger retracements. Again, POC, this is the current range that I'd be watching. We're still inside of this right now. Value area low, 112.180. POC, 117.737. Value area high, 128.278. Absolutely insane here, guys. It's like I had no second to absorb this and think about what I was going to talk about. It literally just happened, and I was like, Tony, go live now. We got to do it. So, yeah, I do want to take a quick look at dominance as well here. See what we got. And pretty crazy, guys. Pretty crazy. Same thing. Again, I never say this to brag. I never say this to be like, ooh, look at me. I hate that. It's cringy. It's ego-driven. I just don't care. But what have we been talking about here? Daily money flow on Bitcoin dominance. Looking for that continuation up into our golden pocket 786. This was the first zone. Our second 786 golden pocket was sitting right up here. Obviously, that volatility gave us a nice push into both of those zones very quickly. But this still, right, does not necessarily invalidate the money flow being in the red on the 3-day, 2-day, trying to come back up here as well. But I would, this trend, if this 3-day money flow continues into the red here, guys, it could just still be lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows. This is still kind of my anticipation here as far as the charts go. But, what we don't want to do here, just like, similar to Bitcoin, right? We don't want high time frame candle closures inside this volume profile for dominance, right? And we'll just hide this, right? This is what we've been looking for. Obviously, we got the wick into the second level. We don't want to break above the PLC 786. We break above this, guys, yikes. That's going to be bad for altcoins, in my opinion. But still opportunities, right? We came in, tapped the golden pocket. We're getting a little correction down. I have to let price action develop here. I don't know what this is going to look like in a day or two. Are we going to wind up developing support inside the volume profile? At that point, we might be able to look up towards that bigger retracement, which would be more painful for altcoins rather than getting the rejection from the first level here. So finally something to update here. But again, just right on track. We saw the divergences. We saw the money flow coming up, anticipating that move either into this level or this level. So, we'll see what happens. I don't want weekly candle closures up in here because it opens the door to the bigger target. And then once we get above here, that's going to be not great for altcoins. So we will take a look at the altcoins as well. I literally have not had time to look at anything. I mean, look at these wicks. I mean, a lot of these key support levels are probably going to hold up, or we're probably going to be at those key support levels on a lot of the alts that we've looked at. Dogecoin, obviously, the biggest key level was sitting down here at about 17 cents. Clearly, we broke it, but it was just that big wick. And looking down towards those two next weekly naked points of controls, 12 cents all the way down to about 9 cents. Both of those have now been tapped. So again, I think it's going to be, we need some time to let things develop. Are we going to be able to hold support in here and, continue up through that profile, or are we just going to see that medium time frame money flow continue to play out? I mean, 4-hour money flow cruising to the downside on all the alts as well. Is it going to be a lower high for a lower low? Again, we're going to need some more, closure here. If we get a, and I mean closure as in like we need closure and we also need candle closures. So, if we wind up coming back out of this range, we start closing daily, weekly candles down here. It's like, are we going to come down and fill that wick? If not, weekly candle closure for Dogecoin, at least above this value area low, would be very nice. It's, ends at about, 0.1638. So it's like you slip the range, now you're back in. We're definitely going to need some more yelling and everything. Obviously, just getting those gigantic wicks to the downside here. Oh my God. Hondo. Look at that, guys. Welcome to crypto, baby. Welcome to crypto. Hondo with the dang 71% 4-hour candle. Good Lord. 71% 30-minute candle almost. Jeez. Absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those times, guys, when we look for these moves. It's like we looked for the move to the downside yesterday, and we're seeing it happen here. I need more development here. I would just say this value area low locally is what you would want to hold in order to see a bigger continuation up. But I would still be careful around all these golden pocket 786s. Insane. All right, let me see altcoins in a bear market. Shout out to Pranav. Yeah, it does. Yo, this crypto shit got me effed up. Shout out to Andy. Yeah, man, it is crazy. And I know a lot of, I'm sure there's probably a lot of new people in here just trying to get an idea of what's going on in the markets here. And you might not be fully updated with everything that we've been looking at. But yeah, it's total nail biter, guys. It's like if we close this candle up here, right, or at least above this level at 107 to 108K, and we wind up getting the push up, it's like nail biter, guys. And also another thing we were looking at on the premium Discord before the dump was this RTY rejection, guys. This is not what you want to see for altcoins, right? Like we look at the RTY, which is essentially like the altcoin market for stocks, right? And typically it's the breakout of this that would create the excitement in the alt market, right? And it's a nail biter because it's like this is the level to break out from. But like if we're going to reject from this like multi-year resistance, it's the level to break out of, but you could also get harsh rejections from here. So it's like, is this thing going to go, or are we going to see this dump back down and kind of cancel alt season, or at least delay alt season in a really, really big way? I mean, there's your big rejection on the RTY, and we actually saw this. It wasn't as aggressive, but we actually saw this before the bigger dump to the downside. So it's like you get the dominance to come up, right? You get the alts to go down, you get the RTY to go down. It's all kind of still tracking all together, but even total 2, right? It's like total 2 tapping up against here at the all-time high. It's like, are we going to get that breakout of total 2 and get that massive move up into alt season, what everybody's hoping for? Potentially that final last phase, that grand finale of the bull market. I mean, it's this is why it was a pucker fest. It's like, are we going to get the breakout? Are we going to get the breakdown? And it's definitely not great, right? We still need to get above that level, and hopefully this is just some kind of crazy liquidation run. But if not, it could be pretty bearish. If I'm just being totally honest. And I talked to a lot of people yesterday. They were, for some reason yesterday I got it wasn't even that big of a dump yesterday. I mean, what was it? It wasn't even. I started getting the text messages and stuff. Oh my God, what should I do? What's going on? I thought rate cuts were happening. Like, why is this not sending why are my altcoins not mooning? And it just goes to show it's like, you need to know what to look for. It's not just, rate cuts alone that are going to call for these moves in the market. And it's just, I can just see that retail is getting very frustrated, even without giant moves to the downside. You get these little pops down. People are texting me like, what happened? I thought alt season was starting. And it's like, I don't know why you would think, maybe you could see alt season happen soon, but like it's, a lot of people are just like waiting for this to play out exactly like it played out last cycle, which hopefully it happens, right? I mean, we do see history repeat rhyme more than it doesn't. But when we see those bearish signs on the chart, guys, you gotta look for those moves, right? Like the charts are the truth every single time. I will preach that till the death of me, right? But let's see here. I want to be like, how's chat doing? How's the mafia doing? And I assume, I can already tell what the sentiment is here. Let me see my short position. Like, never gone from like $5,000 in profit to $10,000 in profit back to $5,000 in profit so fast in my entire life. But again, I'm going to continue to hold this position, guys, just based off of money flow here. And again, I just need more information. Shout out to Dwayne. Thank you for the super chat. I will check the super chats in just a second. Says simple volume profile rotation. I have an upper VP from July 10 to the 31st. And my lower May 8th, July to July 4th. This act was a rejection of the upper volume profile value area low rejection straight to the value area low. Test it. Shout out to Dwayne. That's going to take me a minute to pull those exact ranges. But if you're using the volume profile, brother, I believe you. So yeah, that's very likely. That is the case, right? Whether you're looking at it as a value area low retest, or you're just looking at it from your macro value area high retest. People always ask me like, how do you know exactly what ranges to look at, right? Well, if you're looking at one range and not the other, this is still a key level of support, right? Whether you're looking at this as a value area low, maybe you have it as, or a value area high, they're still going to work, right? Because they're volume-based levels, right? These are not just random lines on the chart. It's actually analyzing the volume that's been transacted and marking these levels out between where 70% of that volume was transacted. That's why they're so accurate. It's why I was looking to hold my short here from up here all the way for the continuation of this volume profile. So you got the full rotation. And again, even looking at Ethereum, I don't know if I covered this yet. I think I did, right? Looking for that full volume profile rotation. Is it this chart? It might have been the one I just had on, right? Actually, I think it was this one, right? Looking at that bounce off the POC as a lackluster bounce for a lower high and a lower low into that value area low. And then once you lose that 786, where's the next place for price to go? Well, looking down towards that 3530 level. What did we hit? Talked about this on the premium market update today too, right? It's like, if you lose this, you're definitely going down here, right? Just based off your value area, your value areas, right? And auction market theory, right? Which is essentially the theory we're using here for the volume profiles. You have balance up here. Where's your other area of balance? Well, it's either you're looking at a local volume profile right there, which might be the value area low of that range that you bounced off of. which is going to be right there, which is very close to the value area high of the larger range. But it's like once you impulse out of your range here, where is price going to get gravitated to? It's going to seek out the fairest value, right, or the next area of fair value, which is simply sitting down here at 35.30. I've been calling for this level. I wouldn't say calling for it, but looking at this as a key level of support forever. Sometimes it takes a long time to come test those levels. And I would say for Ethereum, I mean, it's funny because we were looking at this like 5 minutes ago in the premium Discord when we were still sitting up here. And I'm like, hey, guys, if we can't hold this, right, eventually I would look to get a move to the downside to the 35.30 level, right? It's also the bull market support band on ETH as well, right? So like massive level to hold. So, you know, I'm okay. And this is kind of part of the longer term plan as well, right? Ethereum has been rejecting the macro 786, right? We finally broke above that macro 786 right here. This is your doorway to new all-time highs. We did get the all-time high. But what did we talk about? What we could see happen here, right? Well, if we look at Bitcoin in the same kind of aspect, right? That macro 786 is simply right here, right? It was the same level. I'm going to eyeball it. It might not be the exact level, right? But it was right here, 786. Break above this level. That's your doorway to all-time highs. What happens? Bitcoin barely puts in that all-time high. We go back down to retest it. We lose it. And what do we test here? We test that previous bull market value area high right here. You retest that range high. This is a super key level to hold on top of, because if you don't hold on top of it, guess what? You're probably going to be accepted back into this lower area of value, potentially looking to rotate there in full, right? But what happens? You lose it temporarily, you retest the range high, you get back up, and eventually you get that bigger bull market to continue. It's the same thing on Ethereum here, right? You have that macro 786, which is sitting right here. This is where Bitcoin broke above it, tested it, retested the high, and went, right? But Ethereum got rejected. But we had just broken above it, tested it, broke below it, retested the range high. As long as we don't break below this, right, we could still potentially see that same thing happen. Now, I don't want to create FOMO here and say, like, Ethereum's definitely going to break out here. I would still say, 2-day money flow continuing to the downside, 4-hour money flow about to cross into the red. So I would definitely be cautious here. But, it's really the acceptance below this level here at 35.30 that would make me a little bit more concerned on Ethereum. Other than that, we could just be potentially in a situation like we saw back here, right? It's like almost the same exact thing. It's like you test it, you lose it, you retest. You test it, you lost it one extra time here, and then you retest the high. So this is still the biggest level on Ethereum in my own personal opinion. I have not sold my Ethereum. I did not panic sell the bottom, guys. Don't worry. But yeah. All right, let's see. Shout out to Say It With Me. Sui says, hit 600% short on PTC and now riding 300% long on Sui. Let's go. Shout out to Say It With Me. Sui! Shout out to you, bro. Let's go. Bing bonging those moves up and down in pure CandleMafia fashion. If you don't know that you can make money trading whether Bitcoin goes up or down or alts go up or down, guys, stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. I teach you how to do this, not only on big dumps, but even within the local ranges here. We are capitalizing on these moves every single day. Well, we don't catch a trade every single day, but for the most part, right, we are trading this. Caught very, very nice positions up here in the premium Discord, guys. Shorted the all-time high here, rode it all the way down. I closed mine at 111K. We flipped long on this key level of support. Why? Massive key level of support. Golden pocket, anchored VWAP, bull market support band, value area high, the macro range. Contextually, this was a huge, huge level of support. So what do? We shorted up here. We were not FOMO shorting down here. We were flipping long to catch that move into directly the golden pocket where we went short once again, caught that move to the downside, and then back up. And then we shorted this. That's the short I'm holding right now, is pretty much from the high. My entry is a little bit lower because I added to the position, but shorting it, all reading market cipher using very, very simple strategies. And again, I'm always rooting for the bull market to continue. But if you're afraid of the bear market, just understand you can make money every day trading this stuff, whether price goes up, down, sideways, and sometimes price will even go to the left, right? Sometimes you could pump, and then the candles start printing backwards. That's a very rare signal. I'm just kidding, obviously. All right, let's see. Shout out to Everybody Smile, said, ready to ride the red rocket to the moon. Shout out to Everybody Smile. And by the way, guys, don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate these live streams, if you appreciate the accurate analysis like we were looking at yesterday for the continuation down. Again, not calling for the massive move down like this, but at least looking for that full fill of the range. If you guys appreciate this, we do it for free every single weekday. I show you exactly how I do this, so you don't even have to rely on me. You could learn from me and then go do it on your own and be a self-sustainable trader. So smash that like button if you appreciate it. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the urgent market updates or these daily live streams and the free tutorials. My YouTube channel is a free trading course, guys. Go watch the beginner series. It'll get you caught up to date with what we look for here on the charts, and it'll get you like a base understanding of the charts and how you can start to find find moves like this so you can capitalize on these moves up or down. Shout out to Frank the Tank, says this market is giving me ED. Shout out to Frank the Tank. Yeah, it's definitely not exciting. That's for sure. Let's see. All-time high is coming. Shout out to One Life. I hope so. And again, as long as we don't start closing high time frame candles down here, I think it is still in the cards, right? Again, this is what you would ideally want to see if you had to come down to that macro 786 that was sitting down here. You would want to see it quick flush of liquidity. And maybe I could pull up that liquidation heat map just to kind of show you guys what we were looking at. As far, I'm going to have to pull it up like on a 1-month chart here real quick. Come on, heat maps, load up, baby, load up. We're live with the CandleMafia. Let's go. All right, so let me just pull this up real quick. Bada boom. All right, everybody calm down. Computer's not loving this. I don't know why. All right, but you can see here, we did have all that liquidity sitting down below $108,000 and then also a little bit below $107,000. You know, hopefully that was just that big sweep of liquidity before another rise to the upside. And I would say as long as we're able to stay above this key level, again, biggest level on the chart. And if you wanted to really simplify this, you could just Google. You could just search in the indicators, bull market support band. You know, this is what we're hoping to stay on top of, guys. We wind up losing that, right? That's like kind of your first sign of weakness. Lose this value area high. That is where I think it's much less of a probability that we see new all-time highs. But as of right now, I have to deal with what I have on the chart. We're technically above those levels. It doesn't mean we can't continue down to fill the wick. But right now, we're just hoping we don't get back down below this level. 107 to 108K is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. And that's what I'm going to be looking for. And then hopefully, as long as we stay above those levels, we can see that 786 be a macro retracement before all-time highs. And I do also have to say, 4-hour money flow is not pointing towards the all-time high coming in right now. Doesn't mean it can't happen, right? The charts, indicators might get faked out, but it's just never really what I look for. If I was looking for that up here, I would have gotten wrecked on long positions. Instead, I scalped it directly into the resistance that we looked at and then held my short position to capitalize on more downside. Shout out to Battle Juice, said, this is scary what you just drew, man. Shout out to Battle. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Maybe the drop down to 92K. Definitely not a favorable situation for Bitcoin holders, but all right, let's see here. I will take a look at the 8 billion in liquidation. Shout out to Ma. So hopefully, again, these liquidation sweeps are oftentimes something you see. Again, I brought this up 3 times in this stream already. I'm not saying like I'm annoyed bringing it up. I'm just saying like very clear, definitely could be the case. Sideways, sweep out the longs, send it up, right? It's like oftentimes what you see in bull markets because everybody gets all saucy on leverage during those bull markets, but the problem is they long at the wrong time. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to all 2,664 of you guys tuned in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us here. Look at the alts, please. Yeah, shout out to Peter. We'll take a look at some of the alts. I'm effing freaking out. Shout out to Zevi. Try to take a deep breath, guys. This is the price action where people get wrecked. So just try to keep calm, right? Like just imagine here. Look how fast this stuff can happen. Oh my God, it's so scary. Oh my God, now it's bullish, right? Like this is, you don't want to be panic selling the lows. You don't want to be panic buying the pumps. So just try to sit on your hands, right? I've not made any decisions down here just yet, right? So just try to keep calm, right? We're still above this level. If you want one thing to walk away with, and you don't know a lot about charts, but you know enough to be able to mark off a level on TradingView, 107 to 108K. We do not want to break below that and stay below it. If we do, I'm looking for a much bigger drop down, and at that point, I'm probably entertaining the fact that the top is probably in on Bitcoin, but that is not the case right now. We dip below it, but hey, we wicked back up, right? So it's going to be very important what happens this week. And if we wind up closing that weekly candle down here, all eyes on this key level. And hopefully it just winds up being super bullish and people are like, what the heck is going on? And we're mooning to the upside. That's always a more fun stream to do is when we're getting the volatility to the upside. To the downside, it's like even if we're in the short, even if we call the short, it's like, it's not as exciting as when it's going up. Ethereum, I don't really have a ton else to look at on Ethereum. We kind of already checked it out here, right? Lose that 786, looking down towards the value area high at 3530. At this point, right, I'm going to have to redraw these fibs because these have all been invalidated at this point because we got this massive wick. I don't love pulling fibs to these like massive scam wicks like this on those big liquidations. And again, I think it's important to understand why the drops are happening, right? It's like when you see these drops happening on massive dropping open interest, or you see long positions getting absolutely cooked, this fuels the move to the downside. And if you don't know what that means, right? Like when you hear someone say like, why does that, people always say like longs got wrecked. Why does that push price down? Well, it's just very simple. If there's people in long positions, maybe from here, right? And then maybe they're long from here, and they're long from here, and they're all long. They're trying to long the pump, right? Where are all those stop losses going to go? They're going to go below the swing lows, below the swing lows, below the swing lows, and you probably have a lot sitting down here below the actual swing low. Now, what does this do when you start cracking into those liquidations? Well, when you get stopped out of a long position, it creates a market sell, and that's what adds that fuel to the downside. So when you run through all those stop losses, that's what gives you those massive drops to the downside, which is oftentimes where we're looking to take longs. We wait for them to get stopped out, and then we take our positions. So, when you have that, right, you can look at that as like, well, maybe this isn't super bearish because it's not just strong selling pressure. It's just the longs getting wrecked out of the market. But again, we do have to let things develop here. It's a little bit too soon. I wish I had more time to look at more stuff before I jumped up here. But I did want to go, cover this live because I know a lot of people are probably curious what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, we'll man, I really hope we don't wind up getting back down here for Ethereum or back down here for Bitcoin. So the Ethereum key level of support, 3530, is really that level you don't want to get accepted below. We bounce perfectly off that anchored VWAP. These anchored VWAPs are goated, guys. This is pulled all the way down from $1,400. We break above it. We tap it. Next leg up. We break back. We break down below it very slightly. Hopefully it's a similar situation, right, where it's a big crash and then we hold that as support. But in turn, right, and we have to look at the charts to indicate that, right? You might be saying to yourself, well, we bounced off it. How do we know if we're going to go up from here or not, right? Well, it's kind of hard to say, right, because it's such a current price action, low time frame price action. This could be nice, right? But if we get back down there and we wind up losing that, this key support becomes major resistance, which is why it would get so much more bearish if we lose that level. So for Ethereum, it's really sitting between about 3530 and the anchored VWAP currently coming in at about 3460. So that's what I would be looking at as far as the key levels on Ethereum. Just underneath that, we got about $3,200 at our golden pocket. That would be the next level I'd be watching if we do break below this range. But again, like, is that a place where you could put in a higher low and a higher high? Maybe. But again, you would not. It would just be very difficult because if you come down here, you're going to be fighting all that resistance. So we'll hope that it's just a liquidation crab before a massive move up because getting down here, guys, is just not going to be a good situation in my opinion. So I'll take a quick look here. I'll just take a look at XRP and Solana real fast as well. So yeah, I'm pretty much holding the bull market support bands on everything, right? Just like wick down below it, and we're playing with these bull market support bands. Let me pull it up here on the alt template. So let's take a look at it from a higher time frame. So what we were looking at on Solana was obviously looking for at least a continuation down. Again, not expecting this necessarily. But when we look at this, right, what do we have? Same thing as Bitcoin. It was the same sentiment, right? You have your 4-hour money flow coming out, right, looking for lower highs, right? This was yesterday on the live stream, I believe. Yeah, this was yesterday on the live stream. Could you get a bounce off that golden pocket POC? Sure, but I'd be looking at it as a macro lower high or an eventual lower high and a lower low to come, breaking structure to the downside. And we talked about this on the live stream, literally giving the exact levels where I would expect that lower high to come in at. We wound up rejecting the first zone. If we broke above that, we could have looked up here for that last chance to put in the lower high, but it wound up coming right in on that first level, right? So scalp it. Lower high, lower low, which my next target, once you lose that 786, is obviously the value area low. And with this volatility, we have now broken down below that. And we are attempting to hold the bull market support band, daily naked point of control. We've already come down and tapped that 786. Good Lord, man. This thing ripped all the way down to $146. Let me pull something up here real quick. Trying to see if there was anything underneath that daily MPOC. So yeah, I mean, at this moment, right, looking at a 4-hour time frame, we're holding above that 786. Is that just some kind of liquidation for a 786 retracement and another higher high to come? I don't know. Money flow's not really pointing towards it, but that's what you would hope for. Let me get some of this off the chart just so I can clean it up. I don't want to over confuse everybody. And I'll get rid of this. One of these. Whoops. I'll get rid of one of these anchored VWAPs. And I'll just hide this. Hide this. Because the 786 is really the key level, right? I would actually probably mark this out like this, right? Daily MPOC 786 anchored VWAP. So not that this is going to be like the level that if broken, it's all over. But, I mean, this is what you would want to hold, right? This is your golden pocket from the low to the high. This is the lowest you would want to go to put in a higher low before seeing another higher high come in. Again, I can't say this is going to hold for the long term. Right now, we're kind of playing with that zone right now. But again, it depends on if we hold this or not on this volatility. I like to let things settle down. But losing that 786 would invalidate the idea of the higher low. And to be honest, it's kind of already happened, right? We lost the 786 at that point. Higher lows invalidated. You're looking for a break of structure of this low right here, which is why we were looking down towards those 2 daily naked points of controls that we had here. Because that would likely be the next stop if you don't hold that 786. But we've gotten the bounce, right? Like, I wish there was more of more development on the price action so I can kind of give you guys like, hey, we came down to this level. We got a nice confirmation, but we kind of just swept into that level. So I would say for, I almost said Cardano, for Solana, I would say that your biggest level to get above here, you got to get back into this volume profile above about 192.65. If you do that, right, we can get rid of these levels because we've already rejected and get rid of this because we ran through that support. I would say we can get rid of this anchored VWAP, and I'm just going to pull my fib from this high. Whoops, I guess it would be this high to the low. Yeah, I mean, I would say the POC on a lot of this stuff is going to be your biggest level of resistance to get above, right? Once you get above that 786 POC, at that point, we can look for a push into that value area high. But until then, right, 4-hour money flow continues into the red. I have to look at that as lackluster bounces for lower highs and potential lower lows, maybe to fill that wick. So again, if you want to hold this, if this is just some kind of liquidation, even if we didn't get this liquidation run, guys, like this money flow was still going to be looking bearish, right? So it's like, I don't know. It's like you're kind of just hoping this is a scam to the downside and like you just invalidate all that money flow and come into new all-time highs. But until I see that actually round off here on the money flow, I have to anticipate potential lower highs and lower lows. And zone number 1 would be sitting right here at 202.63 to 219.92. Like literally spoon-feeding these levels. This is like the same exact level that we looked at to look for the rejection right here. Spoon-fed on the live stream for completely free. So that would be level number 1, right? We had 2 fibs prior to this yesterday. We had the local fib and then the upper fib. We wound up projecting the local fib. It's the same thing here. Golden Pocket 786 is your local fib. Could pull potentially like a hyper local here. But I'll just keep it nice and simple. This would be the next level if we do continue up that I would look to get a rejection from, right? And then if we get a bigger push to the upside, let's just pull from the absolute high to the low. Yeah, we'll just keep this on the chart. If you break this macro 786 at 231, maybe you could continue up. But at that point, once I break this, I'm kind of looking for a break of structure to the upside anyway. So yeah, the main level to look at here is between 219.92 and 202.63 for Solana. So we'll see. Come on, bounce. Like we're kind of holding the key support, but again, filling this wick makes me a little bit nervous. So we'll see what we get over the weekend, but that's what I would be looking at on Solana. Let's check in on our crowd favorite here, which is XRP, guys. And I know we've been talking. I mean, let me see. What is this? $1.50. This is not what we were looking at, but obviously, guys, looking at our major support level here on our value area high, golden pocket anchored VWAP. And we also viewed this as somewhat of a descending triangle. Now, I'm not a pattern trader, but we can still look at these patterns to try to predict what is going to happen. Not that I would trade it alone, but when you have the trend into the down, you have the highs trending to the downside with flat levels of support here. That is a descending triangle. These do break down more than they break up. And, once we broke below that level, what becomes your key levels of support? Well, you have the POC 786 at 241 and then the value area low at about 204. And there it is, right? This is not my favorite thing, guys. It's not my favorite thing. I mean, ideally, what you would want here is the initial breakout, retest of the range, retest of the range, retest of the range, and then a move up. And we even talked about the more times you see these levels tapped. I don't love that these levels were tapped so many times. The more times you tap on the door, the more likely it is to open. Again, all talked about on the live stream. So, man, and then on top of that, obviously, money flow is agreeing with that as well, with the money flow coming out, just like we looked at on Bitcoin, just like we looked at on everything else. 4-hour money flow was crossing into the red, indicating the trend would likely continue to the downside. So here we are, right? Now we're back in this. I mean, even on a 1-minute time frame, look at this price action, guys. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I mean, this is insane. But look at these wicks even are just insane. But I would say, I mean, you're now back within this area of value. You've broken down below the value area high. You broke below the POC. You've technically filled the range in full. But, again, this could be a situation where on the higher time frames, you look to go fill that wick. So your biggest key level of support here is going to be 204 for XRP. Let's pull our full fib from the absolute low at $1.61. Yeah, I mean, then you're 786. So I can pretty much get rid of this golden pocket right? So you had the anchored VWAP. Now you got to fight this on the way back up. You got the value area high, the massive anchored VWAP. We talked about this yesterday. If you break down below this anchored VWAP, well, not being able to reclaim that anchored VWAP could indicate a macro trend change, right? You get up, you flip it to support, you continue up. Once you break back down below that, that might be an indication of a macro trend change, which is obviously not ideal here. But you have your macro. This is the entire Fibonacci retracement from the absolute low here at $1.61 all the way up to the all-time high. This is your big levels. These are your big levels of support. Golden pocket. And then you have your 786 on your value area low. Again, kind of like untradeable, to be honest, right? Because you just like melt through all the levels. If you just had a limit order set here, you would have gotten wrecked. If you had a limit order set here, you would have been wrecked. That's why I'm a reactionary-based trader. I wait to come into the level and find my confirmations to take the trade. It's how I stay out a lot of bad trades. So I would just say you're inside this volume profile. I'm working with pretty difficult price action here with this giant wick. But yeah, I mean, get above the POC. You can look to come back into that value area high, but just understand you're going to be fighting that anchored VWAP. Money flow is also coming to the downside on the 4 hour, right? 5 hour money flow also in the red. 6 hour money flow in the red. 8 hour money flow in the red. 10 hour in the red. 12 hour in the red. 16 hour in the red. Daily in the red. 2-day crossing over into the red as well. So I would definitely be cautious here. But I would say, if you wanted this to be a higher low, that wick is okay. You just really want to hold this golden pocket and expect new all-time highs from here. But money flow is not really pointing in that direction. I have to be very explicit about that, guys. So that's what I'd be looking at here on XRP. Oh, man. I don't like these streams anymore. It's fun. It's more fun when we're at a point in the bull market where it's just like I'm really confident, right? Like, and I think some people get put off by this because it's like we're dumping down and we're in a massive short and we're like, yeah, this is awesome. But I don't really have super worries that that's the start of the bear market. It's like up here, it's a little bit more difficult because it's such a nail biter up here with what's going to happen for the rest of the cycle, and it's kind of like it's not as exciting. It's just much more sketchy, if you will. And we will be doing giveaways tonight, guys. By the way, anybody who's new here, we do giveaways every Friday night. Smash that like button. So stick around to the end of the stream for your chance to win some USDT. And maybe we'll just do a little bit of a dump relief package where we'll give away maybe some Frankie Candles hats as like a token of condolences for this very, very big dump to the downside. All right, let's see. Let me just double check these super chats. I saw a couple come in. I don't want to leave these totally unattended here. Shout out to Jack. Thank you for the super chat. Says, that was epic. Thanks, bro. 400% short. Let's go. Shout out to Jack. Taking that information and putting it to use here. Teaching it for free every day, guys. I don't really hold much back here. We go over some more advanced stuff in the premium Discord. I spoon feed my trade setups and all that. But I give a lot of sauce here. I give probably more free value than anyone else on any other kind of trading YouTube channel. I don't care if it's stocks, Forex, crypto. I mean, we cover the markets live every day. I give my current thoughts. I have every tutorial you could possibly think of on the channel, all organized in the beginner series. Shout out to Wick589. Thank you for the super chat. He says, when Wick crashes out on a red day, you know shiz is wildin'. Shout out to Wick589. Famous poet, guys, if you don't know. Wick589, OG of the CandleMafia. Famous poet as well. Just look him up. Ellie says, can you compare this to COVID? Shout out to Ellie. We actually just did that, or we did that earlier. Samuel says, seems like alt season has started. Maybe. Shout out to Samuel. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Yeah, I don't know. We got to play this level to level. I think a lot of people are just expecting this to play out exactly how it's played out in the past, and I just don't know if that's necessarily guaranteed, right? But I hope so. I would still say, we still have rate cuts again. I wouldn't get too emotional over these moves, guys, because things change very fast in crypto. So again, we're gonna have to let a couple days go by, get some more information on the charts before making any more significant calls on something like that. Shout out to Frank the Tank. Said, WTF, man, those live charts were twerking, savagely bouncing. Yeah, shout out to Frank the Tank. Insane. It's yeah, I mean, especially recently, we have not gotten something this crazy in quite some time. This is kind of reminding me of the August dump on Bitcoin, where I famously thought I had a stop loss set. Where is it? Or no, was it? I think it was July 4th. August 4th, right here. Famously missed my liquidation by I think it got tapped. It just didn't trigger. I thought I had a stop loss set, didn't have it set, and luckily, by pure luck, wound up closing that in profit. But that's kind of like the last time I remember something like that aggressive. Man, I don't know, down, yeah. Probably back here. It's been a while. Shout out to Infinite Team TA. Thank you for the super chat. Says, time to fill your boots, bottom in for alt, and not financial advice. Shout out to Infinite Team. I hope so. I mean, this would be like the last tap. Like, this is our last chance. Jack says, I'm long and short. Let's go. Jack schlonging the bad boy. Up and down. Shout out to JB, says holy whiff. We can try to take a look at whiff. Shout out to JB. Thank you for the super chat. Infinite Team says this was the alt season shakeout. Everyone relax. Shout out to Infinite Team. I hope so. And hey, listen, if we could start closing these candles, like even on something like Dogecoin, I mean, we closed the candle up there. I mean, hey, daily, weekly candle closures up here. I mean, this would just look like a big liquidation run to me. A little bit too soon to call right now, but, could be the case. Could be the case, right? It's all about, these wicks are, there's a lot of leverage in this market, which causes these big moves. So again, doesn't mean, oftentimes you will see those big liquidations, right, before another massive move to the upside. So that's the hope. It ain't over just yet, guys. It ain't over just yet. Shout out to Grumpy says, don't you think this move right after CME close is weird? At the end of the day, CME gaps are still there. What's your opinion on that? We'll see. I mean, we'll look at that next week and see if we're going to come up to fill those CME gaps. But the the way I use CME gaps is like I'll just use them as a confluence, right? If I'm looking for a move down to a specific level and then I see a CME gap is also filling, I would use that to my advantage and say, well, hey, maybe we can make it down to that CME gap. If I see my confirmations, hey, we filled the CME gap. I'm getting my confirmations. Let me see if I could take a long from that level. But yeah, could be a little bit suspicious. Shout out to Satoshi Stacker said, I wonder if Trump bought the dip. Yeah, maybe. He he sold. Or I'm sorry, yeah, he dumped it or he tweeted, and then he just waited for his limit order to get hit. He was just tweeting. He's like, nah, I'm going to send another one, not bearish enough. Boop, order filled. And he's like, all right, we're good. Maybe. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. I appreciate every single one of you guys. But let's jump into some more altcoin. What is your target? Shout out to Pre. I don't know exactly what target on what coin over what time frame, but if you let me know, I'll try to answer that. I'll try to answer that as well as I can. Bitcoin dominance ripping. Yeah, we did just take a look at Bitcoin dominance. I gave my thoughts on that. 90K for me, Pre. Shout out to Dutchie. Shout out to Dutchie. Pasta Dutchie on the left-hand side. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. Not 90K is not my target, at least as of yet. It really depends if we're going to come down and fill this wick. If we wind up filling this wick and getting stuck in here, my next macro target would be about $97,000 on our macro POC of the range. I'll pull it up on a higher time frame so you can see it, right? Like our targets down here when we were looking down here, right? You have the golden pocket, 786. Golden pocket moved up a little bit. I'll take this off the chart because we got the bounce. Right, so we had the golden pocket sitting here, took the long, took the short, longed again, right, back to the upside. But that next level was the 786, which was at 104K. After the new all-time high was about 105K. So that was kind of the biggest target I wanted to see tapped, preferably with a liquidity grab, right, to hopefully not get accepted into that range. But if we get back down there and lose this zone, guys, that is where my next target becomes $96,000 to $90,000. And again, we lose this level here. I am probably looking at that. If I had to front run what my sentiment would be at that time, it is probably that the high is in on Bitcoin. Just my 2 cents. Maybe we get down there, money flow looks good, and I have a different sentiment. Kind of hard to say until we get down there, if we do have to get down there. But again, just very clearly, guys, this is still the biggest key level. We cannot lose this level. Wicks are okay. We do not want to close down there. So there you go. Let's take a quick look at Cardano. We already looked at Dogecoin. Let's take a quick look at Cardano. Not that Cardano chart. Let's take a look at this Cardano chart. All right, so what do we have here? And man, this is crazy, guys. This is crazy. All the way back down to the bear market value area low. So it's kind of crazy, right? Because we've seen this, right? This was the area that, if broken, this is our 786 Fibonacci retracement. Pulled from the high, or the low to the high. You're looking for higher lows and higher highs here. This is where you would hope they come in, and maybe we get a long-term candle closure, and it winds up being like a closure above that, similar to the C19 event, right, where we were looking at the weekly, right, very, very, very scary drop to the downside, but what did it wind up doing? It just wound up pretty much closing those weekly candles on top of the 786 at that point, right? What are you looking at that as? High, low, or low, high, higher, low. Candle closures on that 786, maybe you can hold the higher low for another big move up. Now, obviously, we're in a different part of the cycle right now, so it'd be a little bit more alarming in our current case right now. But when it comes to Cardano, it's like, what is this going to look like on a weekly time frame, right? Are we going to close below that 786? Or are we going to hold it with a big wick, right? Because that weekly candle closure could be very important. And that 786 was, number one, the level where you would hope for the higher low before another push up. But if we lose it, where was the next place we were looking for price to go? Value area high sitting at 54 cents. And then once we lose those 50-cent lows, what was the anticipation? You're probably going to come and fill this entire volume profile. And it's kind of crazy because usually it would take a long time to fill this volume profile, but it literally happened in seconds. But hopefully that's it. Hopefully you just like liquidate it, close on top of the 786, and then send it back up. But again, when we try to front run what the probabilities of that happening are, right, we got to keep an eye on money flow, 4-hour money flow crossing into the red. Hopefully that fakes back out into the green. But until that we get more information and I can see that money flow is faking out, you do have to be really careful of lower highs and lower lows. So I'm gonna hide this. I'm not gonna delete it. I'm just gonna take it off the chart because it is relevant, that 786. But I would say right now that we're below the 786, this value area high is your key level of support, 54 cents. You start getting stuck in here, I would expect the same thing as this quick drop, right? You lose the 786, value area high. Lose the value area high, you could fill that range in full. And where'd the bounce come in, guys? Right from the value area low. Pretty crazy. It's like whether it happens on a liquidation wick or whether you get a annoying, confusing rotation of that volume profile, they are going to be very valid. These levels are here for a reason, right? The most valid levels you could possibly look at are the ones that are derived from volume. So yeah, I would still say 50 cent. Many men. 50 cents is still going to be the key level. We get stuck back in here. I'm just going to look, and this could be a fill the wick situation. But dang, when you think about this, right? Like Bitcoin at all-time highs. I mean, still down a little bit, but like Bitcoin's just made a new all-time high, and like Cardano just went down to revisit its bear market lows, which is insane. Insane, guys. But you can see value area low winds up holding support, right? Move that POC. Whoops. Move that POC up a little bit, all right? So I don't think you even got reactions here. Go to the 1 minute, right? You just nuked right to the value area low, bounced off the value area low, flipped the POC back to the high, and now we got that cook back to the upside. So, we do not want to get accepted back in here, guys. Very, very clear level. 50 cents. You do not want to lose 50 cents for Cardano. Good Lord. I can only imagine the text messages on my phone when I get off this live stream. 40 messages. What should I do? Let's see. Shout out to Do It says, Frankie, what do you think is going to happen to alts? They went down 90%. Are you asking me what I think is going to happen right now? Or what do I think if they go down 90%? Let me know. I'll try to answer that question for you. Yeah, the 50-week moving average, I was actually going to bring this up. Shout out to Luke. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. The 50-week moving average, this is kind of a so let me just clean this up a bit just so we can take a look. Pull it up. Moving average. If you're just tuning in, guys, Bitcoin's going to zero. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Hopefully not. I mean, hopefully that's a joke. But let me just see this real quick. So come on over to the weekly. So this is another level you can look at. Actually, hang on a second. So we have not. Am I tripping? Am I in bar replay mode right now? Where are we at here? 109K. Hang on a second. Bear with me here, guys. Bear with me. Because it's on the Bitstamp chart. So let me actually pull this up on the Bybit chart real quick. God, I can't pull it up on this chart. Dang it. Come on. All right, I'll just pull it up here real quick. So this is another level that you can look at, right? So you have the bull market support band, which is a mix of moving averages, and then you have the 50-week. This is also commonly looked at as like a bull market support band. Obviously, every time in this cycle that we've come down here, we've held it, massive move up. We big dump, held it, massive move up. Big dump, held it, massive move up. Big dump, massive move up. Potentially, it is nice to see that hold, but Yeah, we did front run it very slightly as well, and you can see we've done that in the past as well. Front run, final tap to break below it. Definitely a key level to be paying attention to, and if we pull up Lux Algo and we pull up the signals and overlays here, I'm going to have to re-pull up that 50-week. Hang on. So this is very similar to like the weekly Smart Trail on the Lux Algo indicator. So, this is like another thing that I like to look at separate from the bull market support band. If you do slip it, like closing weekly candles below this, again, would definitely indicate bear market to me. But, from the volume profile perspective, it's kind of similar to what we're looking at, right? It's like we start closing down here. It's like, you're already playing around with that 50-week moving average. So it's like, this is something simple that you can look at, right? If we start closing candles below this, I mean, this is oftentimes, right? Bull market starts, Lux Algo Smart Trail turns blue, holds that support every single time. We break this, meaning the 50-week moving average or the Smart Trail on the weekly for Lux Algo. It's going to be a big indication of the bear market, right? Like you could even see here, at the end of the day, I consider this being the actual top on Bitcoin in 2021 based off of like euphoria, retail sentiment, etc. And it was green the entire time. We didn't even have to come down and retest it. And then once we lost it, this turned red. It was essentially the top of the cycle. We came up for one more numerical all-time high, but it was really just a fake out. And then, if you just look at this as that first crossover, obviously an indicator is an algorithm, so it might just kind of misfire. But, massive uptrend. This is letting you know that it could be a big trend change. And then that, it flips green for a second as you put in that all-time high. But at the end of the day, as soon as this turned red, it was an idea that you probably wanted to get, take some profits and maybe look for that bigger continuation to the downside. And we have not seen this flip red just yet. But if we did see that, right, break below the 50-week, or if you want to look at it from the Lux Algo perspective, losing that level would definitely be very bearish in my opinion. And again, it is also the same thing as looking at the volume profiles, right? It's like very similar. There's like many things you can look at here. If you wind up getting stuck underneath here and you start pushing down towards the POC, you're losing all that stuff anyway. So yeah, definitely nice to see that hold, right? And again, right, if it's going to be a fill the wick situation and we come down deeper and we wind up closing that weekly below that level, well, maybe that looks a lot more bearish. But right now, I would look at it as, somewhat of just a test of that level, right? It's not really super scary just yet until we start breaking those levels, which again, also exemplified here on the volume profile. So we'll see. And again, I would say if this is going to be the bottom, I would say there's a possibility that this is just some kind of big liquidation run before another new all-time high. The only thing that kind of makes me wary of that is the 4-hour money flow. And we also talked about this yesterday, where you have the daily red dot print on Market Cipher B, right? Daily red dot gives you the drop to the downside. I compared it. I talked about it in the market update yesterday as well. Compare it to like when you're swimming in the ocean. If you've ever been out and swam in the ocean, guys, you get crashed by a wave, you get tumbled under the water, you can't breathe, you finally find the surface, and you're like, and then by the time you take that first breath, that second wave just kind of comes over and smashes you back down even deeper. And that was kind of what we looked at here for the daily. Daily red dot gives you the push down, right? And then you get those retracements up, and then what do we look at? The 2-day red dot was coming in very soon after that for another wash to the downside, and we saw that play out. So you have the 2-day red dot printing. I mean, you also have the 3-day red dot printing, the 4-day red dot printing. I mean, this might not confirm, but I assume these might be blood diamonds. No blood diamond on the 4-day, no blood diamond on the 3-day, no blood diamond on the 2-day, no blood diamond on the daily. That's nice. 6-day, weekly, no. Hopefully we don't get a weekly blood diamond here, guys. That would be very bearish. But yeah, definitely a very simple thing you can look at is that 50-week moving average. It closed below that. You could look at that as a potential start of the bear market. All right, so let's continue on here. Would this wick, shout out to Al Jr., would this wick be a daily bull div on the daily? Because that is where you look for daily bull divs. Man, we'd definitely have to zoom in a little deeper to see. Let me just hide the money flow. Let me hide the VWAP. So no daily bullish divergence here. Why do I say that? Well, you have a lower low on your price action, but you don't have the higher low on your momentum wave. You just don't have a low below the zero line, right? So you would need this momentum wave to come down, give you a higher low, lower low, higher low, and then that would be the bull div. But we do not have that as of right now. Doesn't mean it can't form, but it is not there. I do not see it there. Maybe you have it on an RSI. I could check that for you. Maybe you have it on the RSI. No. You have lower low. Oh, lower low and higher. Maybe a hidden bull div there on the RSI. But no traditional bull div on market cipher B. But yeah, I mean, that's the hope, guys. I mean, you're still praying here for fake outs on all the money flow, and this is just a liquidation sweep before a bigger move up. But again, we still need to see all that money flow flip back to the upside. So I just have to take that stance of like, can money flow be wrong? Yes. But more often than not, again, just like yesterday, like, could we have bounced here in a massive way? Maybe, right? But money flow was not pointing towards that. It was pointing towards a lower high and a lower low. Again, that lower high, understanding that golden pocket, given live on the stream here, would be likely the place to put in that lower high before the continuation down. So I'm just going to view it the same exact way. And we covered the key levels. If you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. I give you the breakdown on Bitcoin, key levels to the upside, downside, all that good stuff. But yeah, crypto is violence. Shout out to Chatmaster. Yeah, that was like when I see these big jumps to the downside, it's like I can almost hear a rumbling. It's like, oh my God, I can hear everybody screaming at their desk. Shout out to Tones said money flow showing you in the past over and over again. Shout out to Tones. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. I don't know if you're like back testing the money flow. But yeah, I mean, if you have trouble trusting money flow, and again, it's going to fake out at some point. It's not going to be right 100% of the time. Nothing is when it comes to trading. But, I always bring it back in hindsight to show, like, not only, and it's not just hindsight to say, hey, look what happened here. We make these decisions live as price action's developing. But, back here, right? Why did I look to hold my short from the all-time high that we took in the premium Discord? Why did we look to hold this short? Well, number one, volume profile was very likely to fill to the low, but why did I continue to hold it on this pump to the upside? Well, it had everything to do with my 4-hour money flow trending out. This makes me know, right, or indicates to me that the trend is going to continue down, right, which means this pump is probably a lackluster retracement for lower highs and lower lows to come, which was the case. Money flow indicates the longer-term trend, not the ebbs and flows. The green and red dots indicate the ebbs, flows, right? But the trend is identified by money flow. So why did I hold my short position here into this golden pocket 786 retracement, which I'll save you the time of pulling, but it was there. It had to do with money flow. I'm not looking to long this forever. I might take a scalp long here into the Fibonacci retracements and close the trade and hold it for a continuation to the downside because of my money flow. But that money flow is the indication up here. It's in the red. I'm looking for the continuation down. So I hold my short and I continue to capitalize on it. And we did it yesterday as well. Same exact situation, right? We actually capitalized on this little scalp long to the upside from our key level, took the long here, and where were we looking to ride it up into? Same fib I just showed you before that we gave on the live stream. I'm not looking for this to be a massive bounce into new all-time highs. Why? My 4-hour money flow is coming into the red or coming down, right? You had the 2-hour money flow crossing into the red, right? So it's like I'm looking at this, and we did scalp this, hit TP1 and TP2, and then stopped out in profit. I was not expecting this. The final take profit for this was actually just the 786, right? Because that's the highest I would have seen it go, would have wanted to see it go. Whoops. Right? That is the highest I would have wanted to see it go without expecting expect that lower high, right? Money flow is coming into the red. I'm looking for lackluster retracements into the golden pocket 786 for lower highs and lower lows. So we scalp that long, we take profit, stopped out in profit, right? Well, stop loss was at break even, but because we took profit, we made money even though we got stopped out. But that was the anticipation. This was not a trade that we were looking to take into new all-time highs. It was just a little scalp to capitalize on this little retracement before getting a lower high and a lower low, and money flow was indicating that yesterday. We talked about this exact situation on the live stream yesterday because I just kind of go over what I'm planning with my trades. I'm like, hey, I'm in a scalp long, but I'm not looking for it to go high. I'm looking for the lower highs and lower lows for this reason, and here we are, the massive drop to the downside. So yeah, money flow is goated, absolutely goated. Let's see. Shout out to Nirvana said, sorry guys, I just went long today. Nirvana, you're why we dumped. Come on, bro. You couldn't give us a break. Shout out to Nirvana. Welcome in, brother. AVAX hit $8. If that is not manipulation, I don't know what is. Yeah, it does have this wick does have a very manipulative nature to it. And I listen, manipulation, I would look at this as a long squeeze, right? Just like you could have a short squeeze with the longs getting wrecked, creating that fired fuel to the upside. This is pretty much kind of like a long squeeze. Doesn't change the fact that money flow is coming out still, but this was a majority, in my opinion, right? Just longs getting liquidated. Shout out to Mike. Thank you for the super chat. Says, it doesn't make logical sense for the bear market now. Who's left to still be wrecked? Feels like only smart money and whales are still here, Mafia included. Yeah, shout out to Mike. It is true, right? Like, I mean, from a retail perspective, from a general audience perspective, I think crypto is just still a ghost town. And I think it's because we haven't really seen the significant alt season come in. And whether that comes in this cycle or not, it would be expected based off history, but I think there's a lot of people banking on that being like, I had someone hit me up yesterday and they were like, I don't get it, man. Like, I watch all these people and they say alt season coming, and it never comes. And I'm like, well, problem number one is you're just waiting for someone to tell you when something's going to happen. And you have to understand that, like, nobody has a crystal ball. So it's very, I would say too, right? Like, an alt season is very likely, especially at the end of the bull market. You might see the profits roll over into altcoins and you finally get that pop to the upside. But, like, there's nothing that, like, just guarantees because that's happened in the past that it has to happen now, right? Like, the seasonality, I guess you would call it, of alt season might change, right, as the cycle progresses, right? Like, the only alt season we've had this cycle was in Q4 of 2024. This is the only time we've seen real significant moves up on altcoins in a valid way, and it did bring in retail sentiment, right? I had my family texting me like, oh my God, is this alt season? And I was not in the camp that this was full alt season, but we did have the drop in dominance there, right? What was happening? We rejected the golden pocket, we got the drop down, and we get the push up on altcoins. But, I hope that wasn't our alt season for this cycle. But I do think alt season changes over time, or will change over time. Like, I think gone are the days where you could throw a dart at a board, land on a random altcoin, and everything's just going to 50x. I am in the camp of, I don't think everything is going to make all-time highs, right? I think a lot of people just think, well, hey, crazy alt seasons have happened in the past. Everything moons. I'm just going to hold it, and then when alt season happens, I'll get rich. But you might have to be a little bit more picky nowadays, right? The alt sector is so diluted at this point. So I think you might have to be a little bit more picky. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we just got to blow off top. Everything makes new all-time highs. Even if we do, I don't know if I'm going to be expecting everything to make new all-time highs, to be very clear. I think a small percentage of coins will make new all-time highs. But we'll see, right? You would have to do some, like, real calculation there to figure out exactly how many do. And we need everything to hit all-time highs to even do that calculation. So alt season starts now. I hope so. Shout out to Clackier. If I had $1 every time I heard that, I'd be rich on altcoins and rich off getting mad dollars from just getting $1 every time someone said that. But I hope so. I don't think it's impossible. All right, let's see. Selective altcoins. Yeah, shout out to CandleMafia's John Cena. I agree 100%, Frankie. Shout out to Mike. Yeah, I mean, you got to have logical thought. And here's the thing, right? Like, people sometimes get upset that I have, like, conservative targets for Bitcoin, right? Like, my next major target for Bitcoin is about 130 to 137K, maybe 150K. But, I don't just automatically start pulling up 200, 300K targets. And people get upset. They're like, why are you not looking for 300K? Like, but, the nice thing about having conservative targets is, like, you protect yourself. If you had conservative targets here when everyone else was calling for 100K, guess what? You were taking profit when everyone else was expecting 100K and round trip their bags. So the beauty of having conservative targets is, like, you're kind of guaranteed to take profits, right? Because you're not just gonna be waiting for some arbitrary number. And then the other thing is, like, guess what? If I'm wrong, right? Like, if I say my next major target up here is going to be 130 to 135K or 137K, and let's just say we rip right through that level and we go straight up to 200K, right? And it's like, I think a lot of people would be like, well, oh, that would stink, man. Then you're wrong. But it's like, no. It's like, I benefit off that, right? So it's like, I'd rather be wrong and make more money than be wrong waiting for a higher price that never comes and lose all my money, right? So, it never hurts. Like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a conservative target. You could reassess the situation. If it still looks good, you could just take some profit and expect higher. But you're never just going to be, like, sitting there waiting for 200K. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I should, like, go back and, like, see what people were looking at up here calling for 100K. Because, like, even all my crypto friends, all the people I hang out in crypto are just, like, all calling for 30K to be the bottom. And I felt like an outlier being like, I don't know about that. Like, have you looked at the money flow? I know it's just an indicator, and indicators don't work, right? That's what people say. But I don't know. Wound up getting that call in last minute, and people hated me for this. I'm talking about that in the premium Discord. People hated me when I was saying that the blood diamond here with the bearish divergences and the fact that we had retail sentiment spike here and make a lower high here, which is literally a bearish divergence from price action and social sentiment. Very high probability that this was going to be a lower high, especially with the blood diamond, especially with the weekly money flow coming out for the bear market to start. People hated me, guys. They laughed me off the channel. But I also had some people reach out through Twitter DMs and apologize. They're like, I hated you when you talked about that, but I low-key listened and you saved me a lot of money. And I was like, don't listen to what I say. What are you talking about, man? This is not financial advice. Quick reminder, guys. But anyway. Let's see. Shout out to Conspirator. Thank you for the super chat. Says 18 minutes behind as usual with wicks like this. Do we take all those daily, weekly, monthly horizontals off the chart? Shout out to Conspirator. It is a little bit weird because like they're tapped, but they get run through so quickly. Technically, they're tapped, so they are invalidated. But you could also just mark them as tapped dailies. You could put like T daily or TD. That's what I put. If you do want to keep an eye on them, you could just put tapped in front of them so you know that they're tapped. Yo, shout out to Al Jr. said, I buy my groceries based off money flow. Goated. Shout out to Al Jr. Insane, bro. Insane. Crypto Twitter will go crazy. Yeah, crypto Twitter is always going crazy, I feel like. This would be the first time the top came in while everyone was scared the top is in. Shout out to Satoshi, right? Like, that is another thing that we talked about up here and why, you know, as long as we held above 107K, I was looking for new all-time highs, which of course we got, and potentially as long as we stay above here, we could still see. But that was kind of part of my thought process too, just thinking it through from a psychological perspective, right? The psychology of the markets is very real, right? I mean, at the end of the day, a chart is pretty much charting human emotion, right? Panic, fear, greed, all this stuff. And from a psychological perspective, it's 100% I would agree with you, right? Like, this is not typically the sentiment when the top is in, right? People are typically mega bullish, calling for golden super cycles. Shout out to Golden. Looking for 100K, right? For example, right? Oh my God, Bitcoin's as bullish as ever. Don't you understand? Super cycle. Why are you're an idiot if you think it's going down. But that's typically the sentiment that you have. Oh my God, buy the dip, 30K is the bottom. The amount of people I saw saying 30K was the bottom, guys, was insane. Those are the dips that I don't like to buy, especially when it's disagreeing with what I'm looking at on the charts. We don't have that up here, right? We have anything but euphoria. Honestly, I think most people are just sick of crypto up here. I just hope that doesn't translate into retail not really coming back because they're just like, yeah, screw crypto, I'm done with it, right? And like they're all hit a level, they're out, and they're just like, screw crypto, I'm done with this stress. I don't know if we've done that much damage this cycle, like psychologically, that people are just done. But it's definitely not a situation where you see everybody calling for, I mean, maybe like influencers and stuff, but like, the general masses, I don't think are super euphoric up here. You know, if we go into another parabola to the upside, which again is still open, as long as we don't close below $107,000, $108,000, you know, that's kind of where you start to see, oh my God, golden super cycle, the bull market is just beginning, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. We're going to 500K, and then those are the dips I'm usually not going to buy, and I'm expecting the bear market. And it's not the fact that I'm counter trading the retail. If the charts were calling for up and the masses were calling for up too, well, I would just agree with the masses in that case. But it's when they are super euphoric and everything on the chart is screaming down, like here. Right? And if you're new to the channel, just to kind of talk about what we saw up here that indicated to me that the top was likely in was massive weekly bearish divergences, massive 2-week bearish divergences, higher highs, lower highs. You have price coming up, but momentum is leaving. That's not a good sign, right? And then your weekly money flow was also, as you got this drop to the downside, everyone who's calling for higher prices. This is the opposite of what I want to see on Market Cypher B for a new all-time high. The opposite. I would need a big red wave crossing into the green. That would indicate new all-time highs, not money flow crossing into the red. That indicates what? A lower high and a massive lower low to come. And when you're looking at the weekly, that is an indication of the bear market, right? So, and you have that weekly blood diamond up there as well. So that's just some of the stuff, right? And then you have retail euphoria and then less interest on the higher high. So many things to look at the top there. And when you have the crowd screaming, oh my God, 30K is the bottom, and everything else I'm looking at is screaming down, that's where I say, well, hey, retail super bullish, charts are super bearish, retail's probably going to get wrecked again. But up here, we don't have that, right? Like, I feel like there is no euphoria up here. People are just sick of crypto, which is sad. So when that does happen, sure, maybe we get the bigger pump. But again, would I expect that to come into 500K, 200K right away? Not really, right? I would expect that to be one last parabola to the upside once everyone starts screaming buy the dip. If I see those bearish confirmations, I'll be doing the same thing I did in 2021. If they're calling for buy the dip and the chart says buy the dip, then I'm always on the side of the chart, right? But when the retail is, when the masses are disagreeing with the TA, it just gives me a little more confidence in the TA. So yeah. Let's dump again. Yay. Shout out to John T. Yeah, people are just delirious at this point, guys. Oh, it's insane. All right. Ondo. Yeah, we could take a look at Ondo. Actually, I don't want to say hilariously enough, but Ondo, I think I peeked at this earlier. Ondo with the 75%. Look at this thing. Oh, my God. But again, right, like this is a wick, right? If we close above here, I'll just do this on a clean chart. Like, here's your volume profile. You're from the high to the PLC to the value area low. I mean, if we can close up here, again, does money flow indicate massive, massive, massive moves up? Well, when we look at our money flow, right, 4-hour money flow is crossing into the red. Hopefully it's a fake out, 5-hour and 6-hour money flow. This, again, altcoins are a little bit different, right? Because the altcoins, like this money flow is back in the red, but it's been in the red, right? If this was like a massive, say a massive green money flow wave just crossing into the red, it would be much more bearish, in my opinion, right? But if we could hold above this and have money flow chug back to the upside on altcoins, right? And that could kind of point towards like the end of the cycle, right? Like Bitcoin starts crashing, the top comes in, and then eventually the altcoins ride. That's something you could see happen as well, but money flow making another lower low there. So again, we're going to need more information to develop. 12 and 16-hour money flow crossover into the red. 2-day money flow pretty choppy here. 3-day money flow about to cross into the red. Yeah. But it is nice. You are holding back inside your volume profile, at least as of right now. Let's just, I'll be honest, like this 75, like this would be a crazy wick to fill. Like this would be like a bear market wick. Like, we're just going to, you guys want to know what the bear market's going to look like? We'll just fill this wick pretty much. Of course, it can go down lower. But yeah, I would say just from a technical perspective, you're back inside this volume profile. Value area low, POC, value area high. Yeah, I wouldn't say, oh my God, Lambo candle to the upside. I hope so. But again, like we need more development here. This all happened so fast. But let me pull up the actual Ondo chart because we have much more levels to look at here. So recently on Ondo, kind of have profile within profile, right? This profile was respected, high, low, reject. Continuation down, but I can get this off the chart now because it's old. Get out of here, you old fart. So we have the golden pocket 786 here. Clearly, no support there. I would still say, like, the biggest, you can't reclaim this 786, guys. Like, it's weird because it's already happened in, like, 1 second, right? Because the thought process here is, like, hey, if you lose this 786, you're looking towards, number one, the value area low, and number two, more specifically, a break of structure to the downside. We've kind of already seen that happen. So, really, the weekly closers here, guys, are going to be very, very important. But I'll take this off because this has all been run through. At this point, I would say your key levels of resistance to look at on Ondo. Man, this wick is just going to chop up that fifth retracement. Good Lord. So you do have golden pocket POC confluence here sitting between $78 and $82. 786 sits at about, it's at $82, guys. 78 to 82 cents, and then your 786 sits here at about 94 cents. So, if you're looking at this from a profile perspective / Fibonacci retracement perspective, if you do get a bounce to the upside, this will be Fibonacci zone number 1 on the POC to look for a potential lower high and lower low, and then that technically does extend all the way up to this 786. Now, and even if I pull this to that current high, very similar. So I'll just kind of look at this. Once you start cracking above like the 96 cent level, that's where you're above the POC. Maybe you can rotate back up to the value area high. So you could potentially just look at this as a simple volume profile. Again, big liquidation wick kind of steps on that. But I would still say, 4-hour money flow, of course, crossing into the red. I have to anticipate potential lower highs and lower lows to come. If that crosses back into the green and you crack above that 786, again, at about 94 cents, well, then we can just look for the next fill of that profile. But I would definitely be careful of the lower highs and lower lows here with the way 4-hour money flow looks. So there you go. All right, so let me come back in the chat here real quick. This will be the biggest ever money grab in crypto history. Shout out to Pure Blood. Let's see. Do we have lower or stable now? Shout out to Jennifer. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Shout out to Dennis. Said, I got liquidated because of a low position on Ondo without a stop loss because I wasn't expecting a move like that. And that's why I always say, anytime someone, a lot of times people will say, like, can I use... If I use lower leverage, right, like I'll never get liquidated. And that is kind of where I come in and say, listen, that is not necessarily the case. Even on low leverage, guys, when you get these big liquidation flushes like we do in crypto, this will take out pretty much any leverage. So, never, it doesn't matter if I'm on 1x, 2x, 100x, 205x, it does not matter. I always have my stop loss set. And at the end of the day, I know it's not fun, but anytime you get liquidated, right, like, Is it your fault that the market dumped and there was a big lick hunt? Maybe not, but it is still your responsibility. So anytime you got liquidated, right, like it's 100% your responsibility every single time. And this is the stance that I take all the time as well. So always set that stop loss no matter how unlikely you think it is to get tapped for situations just like that. So shout out to you, brother. Hopefully it didn't hurt too bad, but definitely take that as a lesson and learn from it moving forward. Shout out to Visor, said, I watched the video you did a little while ago, and you were wrong about everything. I think you watched the wrong video, brother. I was not looking for the move down to the 786 at 105K. But I don't think I could have been any more clear in that video, those next levels we were anticipating, which was obviously a continuation to the downside. I mean, listen, if TA doesn't work, then I am literally the luckiest human alive. I just make money by guessing. It's just funny. It's like people who think that TA is like astrology for crypto bros. They just don't understand, right? They don't understand how this works. And it kind of like shows me, it's like you're very green, right? Because technical analysis is never supposed to be when you see this, guaranteed this is going to happen, right? There's so much more that goes into trading. As a matter of fact, I would say more of trading is not about the TA. It is more about the trade management and the risk management and the emotional control, right? So you don't have to be 100% correct. Now, for this short position, which by the way, I'm up almost $5,000 on, was 100% based off TA that we gave for free here on the live stream. So shout out to this guy. So he said 50-50. I wouldn't say 50-50, but even if it was 50-50, you can still make money by looking at whatever strategy you're using. You don't have to use my strategy. Even if you have a 50-50 coin flip, if you know how to manage the positions, you could still be profitable. You could still make money. But yesterday, like covering the TA live as it's developing, looking for the lower high, not just looking for a lower high, giving the exact level for the lower high before the bigger drop to the downside. And me personally, I was looking for a move down to, specifically, just to get real nitty-gritty here, looking for that move to the golden pocket and the 786 Fibonacci retracement, which hilariously enough is kind of where we're sitting right now. I did not expect this gigantic liquidation run, at least for that move down, but 100% called on the live stream for the lower high and the lower low. Now, could I have been wrong about that? Absolutely. And this is why people who don't believe in TA, they just don't understand what TA is supposed to do. It's not supposed to give you an instant signal for where price is going to go. So in the market update, we were talking about how maybe we were down here at the POC looking at money flow, saying still got to look for lower highs and lower lows, eventually targeting the bigger levels of support here and here. Where are we sitting right now on price? So shout out to Vichy, or whatever his name was. How does that happen? Is that just luck? I mean, hey, could I have been wrong here? Absolutely. But am I going to get cooked? Absolutely not, right? I'm very explicit about this, right? I could be wrong, guys. And, of course, my short position is actually entered from up here. But looking for that continuation down, right? Like, could I have been wrong about that? And could I have gotten the bigger move to the upside and gotten stopped out of that short? Yes. But what would have happened? I would have gotten stopped out at break even or in profit. And even if I didn't get stopped out at break even or in profit, if I got stopped out for a loss, I'm losing a very small amount of my account. And then the second I hit a winner is going to cover those losses plus profit, right? So I don't know what video you were watching. But I don't know. I as soon as this dump happened, I was like, oh, well, hey, my market update slapped, I guess. But yeah, it is not astrology for crypto bros. Anybody who says that, guys, just doesn't want to put in the work to learn the TA, and probably moreover that, they don't want to put the work in that it takes to build the mental discipline to actually make money trading. You know, you have to anytime I take a trade, I am fully under the thought that I could totally be wrong. But that is what risk management is for. Even if you had a 50-50 coin flip, here's a story. I don't remember who said this, but for anybody interested, I was watching some seminar about like trading psychology, because this is what I do on my free time. But the guy was talking about, I forget who it was, maybe someone's seen this. He was talking about how there was a hedge fund that used to trade the 1 minute chart, which is crazy. And they used a strategy with a 20% win rate. Your win rate does not need to be 100%. People who don't know how to read the charts or don't understand how markets move think that you have to be right all the time to make money, because they think if it doesn't go your way, you're going to get wrecked or lose all your money. That's not how trading works, right? That is the wrong way to look at trading. But this hedge fund traded the 1 minute time frame with a 20% stop loss, with a 20% strategy, right? 20%, it won 20% of the time. But they were wildly successful. And how did they do that? And from a very simple stance, I don't know their actual risk management plan, but essentially the answer to their question was, we don't care. The person asked them, doesn't it freak you out that your strategy only has a 20% win rate? And the guy said, no, why would it freak me out? And instantly in my head, I'm like, yeah, well, it would only freak him out if he wasn't managing the risk. And basically what they did was they would enter trades, and the second the trade went against them, they would close the position. And then once they were right, if they were right, again, they were right, they were wrong 80% of the time, right? But the one time that they were right, that would pay them out massively on the tiny losses that they would take. The second it moved against them, they closed the trade. Very small loss. Very small loss. Very small loss. Very small. Boom. Home run times 1,000. Right? So it's the same thing. And I do this with the premium Discord all the time because this is really the most important thing. I can give you the setups. I can literally tell you when to buy and sell, which I don't do. But if I were to tell people when to buy and sell, you could have one trader make money on that trade and one trader lose money on that trade, depending on how they're managing it. Do they know where to take profit? Are they taking partial profits? Are they moving their stop loss? Are they using a stop loss? Right? I could tell someone to enter a trade here, and it's going to go up. They could buy, and then if they just get greedy and hold on forever and they don't know where to take profits, it's eventually going to come back down and probably wreck them, right? But if they use a stop loss, they'll take a small loss. If they take profits along the way, they'll get stopped out in profit. If they close the trade in full, it was a beautiful trade. But trader number 2, who takes the same trade without having any idea, no stop loss, no idea what's going on, they're going to see price goes up, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to get rich, and then they get absolutely wrecked. This person made money. Why? Because they managed the trade. They're not expecting it to go up forever. But this person might not know that, right? And then they get absolutely cooked. So when you have a strategy, your strategy does not need to be 100%, 80%, 90%, even 70% win rate, right? Because it's all about risk management. Risk management over win rate 1,000% of the time. And ask any real trader this, they will very likely agree. You take 5 positions. You can literally lose 3 out of 5, maybe even 4 out of 5. But let's just say your strategy, you get stopped out, you get stopped out, you get stopped out, and then you get a TP1 and then stopped out in profit, and then this one hits full TP. You just lost. This is why people always, like my friends and stuff will be like, well, how many out of the last 10 trades did you win? I'm like, well, low-key, almost all of them. But that's the wrong question, right? Because they don't understand. They just think it's gambling. Like, are you right or wrong? You don't have to be right or wrong. That's what separates trading from gambling, guys. It's the fact that you can manage the bankroll, manage the position. You can't spin a slot machine, and then when 2 mismatched symbols come up, you can't just be like, wait, stop. I'm just going to take most of my money back out. You can't do that when you're gambling, right? Even on blackjack, unless they have a surrender rule, I guess, is similar. But like when you play blackjack, you can't be like, nah, I'm not liking this hand. Let me take half my money back. You just have to take the loss. It's all or nothing, right? That's a gamble. But when it comes to trading, you could take a small loss. You could take a small loss. You could take a small loss. And then a small win, full TP, is going to pay you out profit, cover the losses, plus profit, right? And that's why you don't have to be right, and you won't be right 100% of the time. You don't even need a 70% win rate to make money profitably trading. I mean, hey, that hedge fund had a 20% win rate. Was that the best strategy? I don't know. They're a hedge fund. They probably know a lot more than we do. But just goes to show. So yeah, anytime someone says TA doesn't work, it's always laugh. I'm like, I literally just must be the luckiest person in the world. I come up here every day and talk about what I think is going to happen. I did not think we were coming down to the 786. That was not on my radar just yet. Now, if we lost that 786, the value area high was on our targets, right? But at the end of the day, we were looking to come down here. It's literally where we're sitting. So yeah, I'm either the luckiest person alive or don't draw giveaway winners for any like-based goals until next week. We need to confirm them. Shout out to Tony D. Yes. It's really funny. People started trying to buy likes to get the like goal hit so they can get a giveaway. Which is kind of crazy for someone to like spend money to bot likes for a chance to win some money. Pretty wild. But yeah, so we do have to confirm them now. We're not going to do like-based giveaways anymore. We're just going to figure out a different way to do it. Poker isn't gambling. Shout out to Jiren. Yeah, exactly. Like poker's different. Why? You could fold. You could manage your bankroll, right? That's what separates poker from gambling. Now, are you taking a gamble in some way or form? Maybe. But again, I think what separates it is the all or nothing aspect, right? You either make all your money or you lose all your money. You either double your money or lose all your money. But in poker, you don't have to do that, right? In trading, you don't have to do that. So yeah. Oh, you have many missed supers. Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. Let me check in on the super chats here, guys. Oh my God, I did miss a lot of supers. Shout out to Diggy. Shout out to Diggy Dog. Says, wife wanted date night, so we went to dinner. Missed all of this, therefore, this was the most expensive dinner we have ever had. R.I.P. Shout out to Diggy Dog. Man, I hate when living my life interrupts my bankroll. Shout out to Diggy Dog. Yeah, that's, dang. Was it a good dinner at least? Let me know. Lucia says, check the 6th of December, 2024, kind of the same wick. I will take a look at that. Shout out to Lucia. Shout out to Tony D. Said, just check the channel analytics. This stream took the #1 spot in channel history for peak viewers. We hit 2885 viewers live. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to everybody in here. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's make this the norm. I bet you, Tony, let me know. I bet you the last highest performing live stream was the last time Bitcoin absolutely nuked. Tell me. I would almost bet my life on that. All right, let's see. Wick says, if bear follows bear, I'm happy cashing out and starting my humble possum farm. What will you do as a consolation prize for yourself? Shout out to Wick 589. Well, hey, listen, if we got to sell up here and it's the top of the bear market or top of the bull market, I might take a day off. I never take time off. Maybe I'll take a vacation. I think in the bear market, obviously I'll still be here through the bear market, but I probably will take a week or two to maybe take Mrs. Candles on a nice trip. I got some life stuff that I've put on hold here for the YouTube channel. Maybe catch up on some of that stuff. But yeah, maybe a nice vacation. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. All right, let's see. All right, so we covered that. Let's see. What did Lucia want? Check December 6th, 2024, same kind of wick. December 6th, 2024. Something like this. Yeah, it's actually really funny. I think we covered this exact wick, where it was like, hey, we got the wick and another move to the upside. Eventually, we did wind up getting the bigger drop down. But yeah, you flushed out that wick here. Yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, assuming that the daily candle confirms where it is, that's a 7% wick. This would be a 10% wick. Good Lord, man. Yeah, similar. I mean, kind of similar to like any kind of other big liquidation run that you had, right? Like sweep it, send it up. Sweep it, send it up. Sweep it, money flow comes out, lower high, lower low. Sweep it, send it back up. So yeah, definitely has a especially 8 billion in liquidation. That's pretty significant. I would say. It definitely does have a liquidation liquidity sweep kind of behavior here. So but anyway, let's come back over to live chat. All right. Shout out to Django. Said good night, everybody. Who got a good portion of humble pie? Shout out to Django. Yeah, I think it's these humbling moves. These humbling moves to the downside. Unless you're short. If you're short, it's I guess an ego boosting move to the downside. Although I've removed my ego from all of my tradings. I don't really have any. I don't care if I'm wrong, right? As a matter of fact, I pray that I am wrong, right? Same thought process last night. Lower highs, lower lows, right? 4-hour money flow comes into the red. That's what we're looking for, right? Daily money flow crosses the red as well. But I hope, right, I pray for my spot bags that I'm wrong about that and we could just Lambo candle up to new all-time highs. But I got to stick with what money flow looks like right now. We're not crossing into the red just yet, though. So we still have some time. Shout out to B&E channel. Said much love, Frankie. Hope you get all our messages tonight. Shout out to B&E channel. You guys sending us smoke signals? Let's go. My butt puckered today. Yeah, I mean, it's a total pucker fest. Let's see. Dazman says, thanks, Frankie. Lost pretty much everything tonight. Oh, my God. Shout out to Dazman. What did you lose it on is the question. Did you sell? Was it a liquidation? Let me know. Giveaways. All right, so let's do the giveaways here. Shout out to Tony D. Ready, locked, and loaded. I think we have 10 bags of USDT to give away. Tony D will pull those up. And should we do a not bear market, but a dump consolation prize? Should we give away some Frankie Candles hats? Let's do 3 Frankie Candles hats as well, Tony. You could do them separately if you want. Do them however is easier for you. Shout out to Fierce Candles. Said, can we take a look at the Bitcoin cycle chart? Yes, we totally can. So there we are, right? 4-year cycle-wise, getting towards the end here. This right here is the 1-to-1 fib. This is timing-wise where I would potentially be looking for a potential top to come in if it's not already in. So yeah, and this is why I always say, like, if we do go into new all-time highs, guys, this is where everyone's going to be like, super cycle's going on forever. But little do they know that if that does happen, it's probably that, in my eyes, right, I'll be looking for that last parabola. If we see the bearish confirmations, we'll be looking for that bigger drop to the downside, potentially into the bear market. This would not be the bull market just starting, at least for Bitcoin, right? Like, sure, I mean, especially Cardano going back down to its bear market lows, like maybe that thing, you could argue that maybe that's the start of the Cardano bull market or alt season. But for Bitcoin, I mean, could it just be longer this time? Could this time be totally different? I mean, yes, but every time people look for this time to be different, they get wrecked every single time. So I'm open to this time being different, but it's just like the way the markets move here, guys. It's like, I don't know. It's just eerie timing if we get up there. But if it looks good up there, then we'll look for higher prices. But yeah, we'll see. I'm expecting a big pivot at around October 20th-ish. Whether that's a pivot to the downside or the upside. Maybe if we can get like a big dump down, maybe it could be a pivot to the upside. Who knows? But yeah. All right, let's see. Bada boom. Yes, sir. Was super shaky the whole time, but all the stuff we bought was right there at the unbelievable low, one of which we just can't believe. That price was stupid, and it's up almost 500%. Shout out to B&E. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Man, I'm on vacation, and I can't see that. And it's gone. Everybody's spamming chat right now for the giveaways. Maybe finally alt season. Shout out to Rocket. Can only hope. You can only hope. Crypto Billy in the chat. No emotions. Stay calm. Don't follow the herd. Listen to Frankie. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Oh, man. I know those emotions are tough, guys. I know those emotions are tough. The one thing I can tell you, if you are dealing with any kind of liquidations on any of your trades, because I am a trading channel, a leverage trader to be specific, any liquidation you endure is your fault. It has to be your fault. I don't care if the exchange took your stop loss off. Is that your fault? No, but it is your responsibility. Anytime I get liquidated, guys, I just say it's my fault, but really it's just my responsibility, right? It's my fault that Trump tweets and dumps the market and gets me liquidated. Not my fault, but still my responsibility, right? If you have a stop loss, you cannot get liquidated unless sometimes your stop loss doesn't get triggered depending on how fast the price moves. That is something that you have to deal with sometimes. But at the end of the day, again, like you don't want to be like risking too much that you're like, even at the end of the day, it's like you don't want to be putting too much risk on the trade, even if you do get liquidated. But at the end of the day, like I set my stop loss, guys. Like I've never just been, I can't remember a significant time where I've just been liquidated when I had a stop loss. And it's just funny, right? I set my stop losses, and I don't really deal with that. So if you did get liquidated, just take that as a lesson and learn from it, right? It's like it might feel like you got scammed because the market wicked, or you might feel like maybe I thought I had a stop loss, but the exchange took it off. Whatever you want to come up with, whether it's true or not, it is always going to be your responsibility. And I've been in situations where I thought I had a stop loss set. Maybe the exchange took it off on a glitch or something, and I got liquidated. But guess what? I should have double-checked that position. I shouldn't just be out of that account for multiple days, giving my, always double checking on the trades, right? Now I double check my stop losses, and it happens very, very rarely. It actually happened recently, but it was the first time in 2 years that it's happened. So yeah. Smash the like. Shout out to Jack. Let's go. Thank you for the super chat, brother. All right. Oh, there's the giveaway winners. The USDT giveaway winners are Wix Wi-Fi 89. Let's go. J Squad, RH, Joe Mama, Jose Mata, Crypto City, Ronaldo Azaris, I think that's how you say that. Nirvana Jedi Skirk, let's go. And the hat winner, Ziva Crypto Girl, shout out to, and Lucia and Aril. Hey, let's go. Shout out to Lucia Crypto Girl, or Ziva Crypto Girl, and Aril. Let's go. I don't know what color it's going to be, but maybe we could try to get Ziva a pink one if she wants. We don't have a lot of female CandleMafia members, so we have a lot of pink hats if she wants it. But yeah, I think we just kind of send out random colors, to be quite honest. But yeah, let's see here. We're about to be at 150K or 50K. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. Shout out to Matt Did said, Frankie, Giggle made me laugh and then cry. Shout out to Matt Did. We took a look at Giggle yesterday. Yeah. I mean, pretty much nothing is going to be immune to those big liquidation wicks like that, to be quite honest. Can we donate the next giveaway to reinflate Mrs. Candles? Yeah, maybe I should try to get her back inflated, guys, because it's never good. I spill coffee, Mrs. Candles gets deflated. It's never a good look. Let's see. Frank, what are the chances that this is the start of the bear market if you had to estimate? Shout out to Faith. Well, I have faith that it's not. I'm kidding. Percentage-wise, I don't know. It's kind of a hard call, right? Because I'm a reactionary-based trader. I would say the probability greatly increases if we wind up losing this massive key level of support at 107 to 108K. Greatly increases. So I would say, I don't know, probably a lot higher than a lot of other people would want to say. But to be quite honest, like I would really start putting, like, until we break down below this and close it with high time frame candles, I would say that all-time highs are still open, right? Long term. Once we lose this, I would say there's probably like maybe a 60% chance that the top is in, right? You start breaking down below here, you lose that 786, especially if money flow is coming out. Because again, I am a reactionary-based trader. I'm a confirmation-based trader. If money flow is coming out on higher time frames as we lose this range, like it gets more and more. We lose the level, maybe it's like 60%, right? Then we start coming down, high time frame money flow starts coming out. I'm starting to think, well, maybe it's like 70%, right? There's always going to be a chance that you can scam back to the upside. But to put a percentage here, I would just say as long as we stay above 107 and 108K, I do still think the doorway to all-time highs is open, especially with a big liquidation wick like this. But what's going to happen here? This is why I say we have to let the price action settle. You know, are we going to see the fill of this wick and acceptance into this range? It starts to get a lot more bearish. But if we wind up closing the weeklies up here, I mean, that might not look that bad, right? It might just look like a big liquidation sweep into the 786, which was the only situation I wanted to tap this 786 in. And then you look for that bigger move to the upside. So yeah, like right now, I would probably say maybe 50-50. Break down below here, it becomes like 60-ish, 70-ish. So that's kind of what I would say. I am waiting a bit. We can do the same going up. Shout out to Jack. I'm not 100% sure what that was in context to. Don't draw, man. It's scary. I mean, yeah, if I could give some positivity. Big wick here, guys. I hope it's a liquidation rip. I mean, it definitely was part of it. So all eyes on the weekly candle here, guys. I mean, we do not want this candle to start closing below the value area low or this value area high. Again, the biggest level being $107,000 and $108,000. I'm going to hold my short position, lock in some profits, and then see if we can ride that thing all the way down. If not, you know, I'm always rooting, right? I hope the money flow is wrong on the 4-hour, guys. I hope it's wrong, and I hope we can scam up. But again, can't do TA on one single candle like this other than say that this is like a nice liquidation wick. But I'll keep you guys updated. If we see another crazy move over the weekend, maybe I'll drop a market update or something like that. But Stream Deck's broken. With all that being said, that's all the time we got for today's live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Try to stay calm. Try to not to let those emotions leak into your decision-making too much. I know it's hard, guys. I know it's hard. But now you have all the key levels. And nice to see that. I feel like it's not really great to say this, but nice to see the TA play out from yesterday for the continuation down. Was not expecting that crazy liquidation wick. But yeah, I'll try to come up here every single weekday, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, give you my thoughts, and hopefully continue to nail these calls as we have in the recent past. So with all that being said, I'll see you guys. Go have a great weekend. Touch some grass. Shout out to the giveaway winners. Congratulations. And try to touch some grass. Try not to be glued to the screen all weekend. And the charts will be here when you get back. Your alt bags, maybe not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive as always. And I'll see you on Monday. Same place, same time, right here. 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the lens. up whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same. I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right. I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life. I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose, and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
It's not working, guys. I'm trying. I gotta go perform emergency surgery on Mrs. Candles. I'm trying. It's not working so far. Hopefully I can pump her up and get us a move to the upside. But I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong. Stream Deck's not working, guys. Stream Deck's not working. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy. And it's time to